Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Excelsior! It is the last Marvel retrospective episode for now.
So
we
sad.
will be back. It'll come back. It's just like Thanos. We'll be sitting there waiting in the chair, but one time we'll turn around. I am. Fuck.
I'm gonna take
last
a non-themed name. I'm
You know what?
Night Flight almost.
I'm the Amazing Travis Snell. Just pulling
That's
something
good.
from the comic book. You know? Boom.
The Amazing Spider-Man.
I am the using my made up names. Taylor Field.
Okay, shout out to me.
That was actually good. That was actually good.
So if you're watching this, Infinity War is less than a week away. Crazy. It's going to be a good time. Make sure you please go and subscribe to YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher. I'm getting them out of the way right now because we'll be dropping a massive spoilers review. We got a Raw or Not that is superhero
Are you guys
themed.
doing the review the night of?
Yeah,
Nice.
for sure.
Yeah.
We got a Raw or Not superhero theme. They have the sexiest, coolest, smoothest guest on that you've ever seen in your life.
I
Check
wonder
out
who it could be.
all the other retrospectives. We have a major gauntlet title match happening the same weekend on Infinity War. We're popping off at the end of April, so check it all out. But what we're doing, if you've been following the series, we did all the way from Iron Man to Ant-Man, because the other ones we've just reviewed recently. We're going to do a ranking special. Now, for Dylan, us, and myself, we're ranking all the movies. Taylor has some weird asterisks that he'll explain later. But what we were doing, we were ranking every Marvel film, like the MCU one, from worst,
All 18 of them.
from least
in
to
the current
greatest,
MCU.
yes. Stanley cameos, the villains, and then the top 10 best characters. We didn't rank every character because that's an 8-hour podcast right there. Maybe one day if you pay us, we'll do that. We'll rank everybody. Even Ned, boom, we'll bring it in there. But
I'd love to do that.
we had to get down nitty gritty and we picked our top 10. So should we just dive right into it and get into our films?
I just want to start with a quick precursor that all of these movies I've seen multiple times now, except for Black Panther. So Black Panther stuff, like in general, is probably gonna be lower than maybe I would put it when I get to see it a couple more times. But it's still in theaters, and I don't know. I pay for enough movies in the theaters, so I think I'll see it again.
Yeah.
So that's just a quick precursor for me, you know.
I agree with that in general too, because there's a few things where Black Panther falls where it could fall higher or lower, but it's just tough. Like I've seen it twice, but still, it's like even if you see a movie back to back, you gotta let it sit with you for a little bit. So that's where it's if we ever redo these rankings at some point, because I'm sure if we're gonna get to Avengers 20, I'm sure we will redo our rankings at some point. But I think that's a good asterisk for the newer movies. So. Any asterisks you wanna tell the audience what your asterisk is?
I'm keeping my list within the confines of the movies that we have retrospected. And I with the exception of us ranking our
The films,
18
right?
Marvel
Okay,
films
thank
in
God.
order.
I'm like, you're gonna leave out
I'm
Guardians.
gonna rank those according to all those. But as far as like characters and villains and stuff, I'm just keeping them within the confines of the movies we have retrospected. That's what I'm doing.
So now we are going to start from the bottom. What we're going to do is we're going to go by each number. We're going to reveal ours. We'll talk about them quickly. I think we should probably reveal them first, because then if we have any commonality, we can talk about that movie together instead of me talk about it and then one of you two. So I'll let any one of you gentlemen start with what is your least favorite MCU
I'm going to start with one that is probably not surprising, and that is Thor 2: The Dark World.
Taylor?
Thor 2: The Dark World.
What?
This is a
On
surprise.
Thor 2: The Dark World. You said you liked Thor 2 better than Thor 1.
After rewatching it and doing a little bit more kind of like soul searching, it didn't hold up for me. Especially when it came to this list.
I think if you go back and listen to, we have an hour podcast, so we won't get in depth with these, but like I think it's just, for me, I'll always say it's not a bad movie. I have enjoyable stuff about it, but it's just clearly the bottom. For me, it's clearly the least good, the least things I attach on. I never want to rewatch it unless I'm doing like, I'm watching them all, you know? So
It's one for me that I think the reason it was 18th without question is because like we just watched all these movies recently, and it is by far the most forgettable. I can't even like tell you that many details of it, and we saw it recently and like talked about it for like over an hour, and I still like have very little memory of it. So just not a good movie. Very disappointing.
No, not a good movie.
Well, we're all on the same page on that one.
And then, for you, it's just the soul searching.
It's just, in comparison to all these other really awesome movies, I don't see where it actually could rise above
anything.
I mean, all these other movies have just really, really good.
I think I'd be shocked if Marvel like ever releases a movie that's worse than that one. At this point,
I think
it'd
now.
be hard to.
I think if you would have asked me that question after Thor: Dark World, it would have been like, oh, maybe they're trending down, because you had that. And then you had, I guess you had Winter Soldier, but then you had Avengers 2, which people aren't the biggest fan of. So around that time, I could see, they could maybe make one. And I honestly said it's probably going to be Ant-Man before it came out. So I could now, I'm like, no, they're solid. I don't think we'll ever get back there, but I think if this is the lowest bar, that's not awful. You know.
I also my movies are kind of in like tiers as well.
Okay.
So I'll mention when I'm going up a tier.
What is this tier right now?
This is just the bottom tier, F tier. You know.
F tier. Okay. F tier.
And so I'll just hop into my 17th because I know this is gonna be deviation for you guys. I put Hulk as 17th.
God,
Obviously,
that hurts.
obviously,
That hurts.
Travis was kind of shocked to hear that I originally disliked this movie because this is the only movie that I didn't see like when it first came out, and
you dislike it. That you dislike it so much is what's
17th.
crazy.
Yeah, I really. Well, honestly, like I don't know. There's some like not so great movies, but for the most part, like
Don't be changing anything.
Marvel is very high quality, you
Yeah.
know, in the movies they release. So Hulk, you know, it wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen in my life, but it was the second worst Marvel movie in the current MCU.
And because we're doing this like for fun shock value, I think next year when we do like another rankings, because we're gonna do best scenes, and I forgot to tell these guys, so we'll do like a part 2 rankings. But I think next year I will have prepared. I'll try to listen to this. Remember, I'll do it like an algorithm, like put all the numbers together, see like what would be we got our separate list and what together would be the average. So like if we had Hulk there and I had Hulk there, where so I think next year look out for that. I'll go right now because Taylor's rating Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2 I think is a very enjoyable movie, but it's just it's similar to Thor: Dark World. Or Thor: Dark World I think is a lot more like a drab and slower to watch. Iron Man 2 I still really like and really enjoy. I think it's just kind of messy, and we've talked about that in the retrospective, but it's another one that I watch because I watched the trilogy. Iron Man 1, I watch Iron Man 1 and I could be fine. But if I'm going to watch Iron Man 2, it's never alone. I'm never like, I really want to watch Iron Man 2. It's like, okay, I just watched Iron Man, I'll watch 2. And I love these characters. I love watching Robert Downey do his thing, but easily, so far, I'll let you know, for me, I don't have tears, but I'll let you know when the picks were getting tough. So far, all this was like easy. So those were an easy one to put there. So Iron Man 2 is my 17. Taylor?
Thor 1.
I feel like you like the Thor movies so much, and now they're your least favorite.
When I'm comparing them with all these other films, there's just other films that just take it away, and just for me as a fan, just other films that suit me better and what I can connect with better. Than
It's just when you talk about stuff like Avengers,
because I'm reviewing that specific movie.
Yeah, this is your weird system again, where Suicide Squad is a 10 out of 10, but
I gotta
far less
review that. I need to change that.
We will at some point do a DC retro. I don't know whenever. You know, maybe Aquaman around December. We'll do the DC.
Just review Suicide Squad.
Remember what we said? We'll not review Man of Steel till we reach 1,000 subscribers. So that's the one movie me and Dylan must.
Yeah, you're gonna have to earn that one.
yeah.
Tell your friends.
Or $1,000 patrons. Okay, so we've all done that. So 16. Dylan, you go because
so
doing it.
this is my last movie in the F tier. These three, and this is gonna actually be Thor 1 for me as well.
Ooh,
yeah, dropping Thor 1.
But you wouldn't actually think that's like it's just an F in these movies, right? Like you wouldn't look at Thor and be like, that's an F, right?
Yeah, like honestly, realistically, Dark World is probably in its own tier, like way worse than everything else. But you know, it's kind of loose. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it in the review. I think I've really grown to love the character of Thor. But it's certainly been a process that I feel like as an actor he's gotten better and better, and he wasn't that great in the first movie, and then the rest of the surrounding material wasn't really that interesting to me either, so that's why it's all the way down here at 16.
My number 16 is the first Captain America.
Okay.
At the time, I liked it, but better Marvel movies came out, and it just kind of worked its way down instead of staying where it was or go up for me.
Yeah, I think that's a big theme for me. Like that's why I was telling about the ranking. Like I like all these movies and big Disney Marvel shield. You can say that, but like I'm ranking all the stuff I like. I'm just surprised. I'm very surprised by Taylor's list so far. I actually know you're a big Cap hater, so that one's not too far gone. But
he's a bigger Thor hater.
So we started off really strong, having the same pick. Now we're deviating, but for me, Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Really?
Yeah, it's just when I look at, once again, I really like that movie and I defend that movie big time, but when I look at the movies coming up before it, I go, what do I like more? Or even just as a film, what do I enjoy more or appreciate more? And it's these other ones. There's a few that I go back and forth on, but this was one that I think it's still solid. I think the back and forth is coming up, but this was still solid. Like, I don't... Quicksilver.
That is really surprising me how you put it. Like
Ultron's
with that amazing like story for Hawkeye, and that scene of of the party scene with the hammer, you know?
To me, it's a good BVS though, where just as many bad things, there's good things. You also have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
It's true.
You have Ultron, who, listen to the retrospective, I hate every time I watch that. So, and he has a lot of screen time. He's not a Marvel villain that's like Malekith off the side. Like, he's in that movie quite a bit. So, like, it's his name. So yeah, Avengers 2 for me as a big defender. I'm putting it down there.
Fair enough. Did you?
You started the train.
So my next, we're hopping up to the next tier here.
15.
The D tier.
The D tier.
Yeah, 15. So 15 and 14 for me are in very close contention, but I think on the spot, what am I gonna do? I think I'll drop Cap 1 here. As
okay.
well.
I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same sort of thing as Thor, where I've really grown to like the character. Now, once again, the first movie, the introduction wasn't really that standout, and pretty weak villain, and overall it's just like kind of a bland movie. It has its moments for sure, but yeah, it's still 15th.
Yeah, fair enough.
My number 15 is Iron Man 3. So, I mean,
you would put Iron Man 2 higher than Iron Man 3.
I like Iron Man 3 a lot, don't get me wrong. I think it's very cool, them exploring all those suits. Iron Man, Tony Stark, just kind of tackling the world without his suit and relying on just his mind more than his power. I think that's super cool. It had a lot of good qualities, but then again, they're just better movies that just sneaked in above it. So,
Ant-Man for me. Ant-Man I really enjoy. It's a comedy, but there's just other ones I enjoyed a little bit more. But this is the last tier for me, as the tier of like these four were solid and they weren't going to move much. And when we get up to our next ones, I'll explain which ones. But no, Ant-Man I still really enjoy, but super weak villain. Pretty I think basic plot, which is fine. That doesn't make it a bad movie, but I just enjoy some of the other movies a bit more. So yeah, 15 for me is Ant-Man. Good old Paul Rudd.
Cool. Moving on to 14. This is where I'm going to put Iron Man 2.
Okay.
I think the reason why it kind of trumps the four below it is because honestly, it's Robert Downey. Like he carries this movie, even though it has a lot of problems, like a fair amount of problems. He still is fantastic throughout and always exciting on screen. And I can't really say the same about the the protagonist of the four movies underneath it. So even though it is rifled with problems, I will put it above Whiplash. I will whip it into the 14th slot.
Oh.
Hey.
My number 14 is Ant-Man.
Oh, we're pretty close.
I liked Ant-Man. I thought it was a great movie. I'm excited for the second one. I loved him in Civil War. I think Paul Rudd is just born to play Ant-Man.
He was born to be Ant-Man.
I think he's fantastic as that
character. His whole life is culminating towards him.
Yes.
Friends, 40-year-old version, and now all to Ant-Man. Really something there,
come on.
Yeah.
You done? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. This is where it got tricky for me, and I'll explain when I get to 13 more. So I'm just going to say the pick, and then I'll explain when I get more to 13. Is Doctor Strange, number 14 for me. And I will explain that when I get to 13.
Okay. My 13 is Iron Man 3. Just sneaking one above Iron Man 2. There's nothing much
just
to
like
say.
a bit better than 2.
It's just a bit better.
It's similar to 2, where it has problems, good stuff.
Yeah.
Downey's great,
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, I guess the villain is like slightly better. And
Is this guy bothering you?
There is some weird stuff.
There's some weird stuff. Alex Kensington.
Fuck
yeah. I'm going to write a movie. I'm going to make that character Alex Kensington. Not like a rip off him, just some character named Alex Kensington. And
just as like an Easter egg shout
and Taylor's going to play him. He'll be like some lawyer. I'm Alex Kensington.
Is this guy bothering you?
Yeah.
I don't know
That's your
I don't know if I can see Taylor as a lawyer. I'm excited to see it when it does happen.
I don't know if I can see Taylor as an actor. He's had some struggles sometimes,
Good bloopers.
Phenomenal.
He's an ace in the blooper cast.
Yeah.
So Iron Man 3 was your...
That was number 13.
13. Okay, my number 13 is The Winter Soldier.
Wow.
Cap 2.
That's quite low, I feel.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I feel like you and me liked that movie a lot more than Dylan when we reviewed it. So
I did. It's just the fact that these other movies just scoop on in there. Winter Soldier, I really liked the flesh out of Nick Fury doing whatever he's doing.
Whatever.
I liked...
where did you have First Avenger again?
What?
Have you revealed First Avenger yet?
The first Avenger on
Captain
my list?
America?
Cap 1. Yeah, that was his
Cap
number
1? Yeah.
2. Or 17th. Or 16th, I think.
That was my number...
No, it's fine. I just want to make sure it
Yeah,
was lower than Winter Soldier.
No, I like Winter Soldier better.
Yeah, please
do.
I'll give you Iron Man 2 over 3, but Cap 1 over Winter Soldier, I don't know that one.
Oh yeah, I love Bucky Barnes in there,
Bucky
and
B.
Nick Fury, and some Scarlet,
Some Scarge.
Black Widow. You know, just there are a lot of good combinations in that movie, and
Not Cap though.
I like Falcon a lot.
What?
I actually do like Captain America in that movie. He definitely compared to his performance, not his performance. That's bad wording on my part. Compared to the Captain America we saw in the first Avenger, I like the Captain America that we got to see in Winter Soldier a lot
Fleshed
more.
out.
That take was much more suited to me as a fan.
Okay.
It's good writing, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny
Good
you bring up
writing.
Captain America First Avenger because that is 13 for me. So I went back and forth on Doctor Strange and Captain America quite a bit. This was one of these that because it's tough where I go. I think I like Doctor Strange more, but I think as a film, I was more disappointed by Doctor Strange, and I guess that's where my bias comes in, where you have Mads Mikkelsen as a villain who gets some good screen time, but honestly, he should have been used so much more, and they didn't have this talented actor. And the other thing for me is Doctor Strange was always the humor. The humor really killed it for me because it wasn't even that it was Marvel quippy humor. It was just the fact of, one, I didn't feel it was needed, and two, it didn't work for me. Where something like Black Panther, I feel that there was much more drama than humor, but even then when the humor happened, it worked for me. With Doctor Strange, the humor didn't really work for me, like trying to make Wong laugh, and the Beyonce jokes, like, none of it really worked for me. So that took it down for me. So I think that I like Doctor Strange more, but also disappointed me more. So I think whenever we re-rank these, it might change. And the first Cap, it's just a good, solid movie. Yeah, it's cheesy and it feels a little dated, but you see Chris Evans, he's doing a good job. Hugo Weaving's doing a good job. There's some good action other than when they split the war and it's just a montage. But I like his journey more of the underdog nobody into the godlike figure as a hero, right? And I feel like they do a Superman movie better than DC does. They make him that figure of every kid wants to be. That shot of the kids running with the shield at the end is great. Where Doctor Strange, when I leave, I go, I think there's better here, So
there's room for improvement.
Yeah, so 14 Doctor Strange, 13 the First Avenger.
So we're moving up again in tier. That was the D tier of Cap 1, Iron Man 2, and Iron Man 3.
Okay.
But now we're up in the C tier. I'm going to put number 12 as Winter Soldier.
Actually.
Yeah. There's only 2 in this tier, this C
Okay.
tier, so that's going to be exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about it. Go ahead.
That's fair.
My number 12 is Age of Ultron. I really like this Avengers movie. I think it had a lot going for it.
That just sounded like someone who's like never watched a movie. I really liked this Avengers movie.
Alien.
That was very alien, trying to fit in.
What are these Avengers movies the kids like? Steve Buscemi.
But I think I liked Ultron as a villain.
Where's Steve Buscemi in the MCU,
It should happen. He should be
He'd
in a
be
Guardians
great
movie.
Mysterio or something.
Oh yeah, 100%. Lizard even.
Lizard, yeah.
Craven.
Yeah, I liked Vision's introduction. There were so many different things. I love Quicksilver in the movie.
You loved
Really
it.
liked Scarlet Witch. I mean, there were so many different cool factors thrown into this, and just seeing Hydra really kind of be bent over a little bit was pretty cool finally, because they always had like the dominating hand in the situation.
What is happening here? What
Bent
type
over
of
with the
dominatrix?
dominating hand?
Yeah, movie are you in?
Boom! Fist in!
You must love the
motherfuckers.
porn Avengers movies when Hydra's like, oh, how Avengers don't hurt me, and it's like...
Yeah, Age of Ultron number 13.
12,
sorry.
Number 12 for me, Iron Man 3. I don't have much to say. It's an enjoyable movie. It has some problems, but yeah, this was one, I guess I can go back to this. This one to me was solid, where I was like, oh yeah, that's perfectly where it's placed. Coming up is I shuffled my list quite a bit, because I made this list after Black Panther, not knowing, well, I kind of had idea we were going to do this.
Your previous one was Cap
1,
Cap
and then
1.
now it's Iron Man 3.
Right.
Yeah. So I made this list after Black Panther because I know what happened, but I did rewatch some of the movies that we weren't even retroing, and there's a big shift in my list, and I'll talk about that, I think, next, coming up for me.
Yeah, I think I have a couple shifts, because I just watched Spidey again last week,
Yeah.
and watched Ragnarok recently as well.
So yeah, 12 for me, Iron Man 3, that was a solid place. I think it's almost the best definition for me of, like, the middle ground MCU movie,
Right.
you know? So,
Yeah. So for me, number 11, paired up right with Cap 2 there, is Iron Man 1. I think this one, beats Cap 2 because, once again, it's Robert Downey. I just love that character. I love Iron Man. He's such a fun character, and Robert Downey really just like even it's interesting that was the first movie of him playing that character, and he seemed to nail it on his first try.
Oh yeah, perfect cast.
And so even though the rest of the movie is like it's kind of mediocre villain, like no, I don't think anything's really bad in it. It's kind of just like a lot of mediocre, but he really stands out, and that's why it's made it up to 11, nearly in the top 10.
That's why I'll say this till the day I die on this podcast. Robert Downey is one of the most important figures of Hollywood ever, because I think Tom Cruise in that movie, it's still good, but it's not. Most of the reason why people love those movies, like my mom, mainstream people, it's because of Robert Downey. Yeah, sure, there's villains and action and the plot and all this, and you can see team ups. Everyone loves all these Avengers movies. It's because of Robert Downey. He's the breadwinner, so he's the glue that holds it all together.
My number 11 is Black Panther.
Wow.
Now, that being said, again, and I said this during the actual review, it's not because I dislike the movie or anything, but the other Marvel movies they have, just for me as a fan, they're more tailored to me, and I enjoy them a lot more. Now, that's being said, I don't think Black Panther is a bad movie. I really, really do enjoy it.
I'm just surprised I'm in the top 10. I think you gave it like a 9.5. Again,
but his numbers are...
I'm not taking that into account right now for this.
I'm actually going to go back and look at what you actually have ranked, like rated, and then see what that list would actually be opposed to what you ranked. But you know what?
Taylor's list was made under the influence of alcohol, and I think we're seeing some of that here today, folks.
Not all of it.
Not all of it, that's true.
But no, that being said, like I do enjoy Black Panther, but just compared to what my number 10 was...
I'm interested to see what...
My number 10 it has a bit more meaning to me as a Marvel fan, so...
I'm going to predict it's Spider-Man Homecoming. Don't tell me, I'm going to predict it. So we're on 11 now, right?
Yeah.
So this was a big shift for me, because when I made this list a long time ago, don't look and cheat on mine.
I was on
when I made this one, it was as high as 8 originally, and then I rewatched it a few months ago, and then I rewatched it one more time. Spider-Man Homecoming, for me, is not cracking the top 10, because I think when I watch that, I always feel that there's a lot left on the table. I think it's similar to Doctor Strange, where I like the movie a lot, but a lot of things bug me. Whether it's just like Spider-Man not really beating Vulture in the end, Spider-Man, like, I guess for a lot of people, it's not a big deal, and I get that. For me, the non-mention of Uncle Ben just bugs the shit out of me. I don't know if it's a comic book thing. I think it's just that they hint around it, but it always feels like the movie's just like, we're trying to make this the fun family Spider-Man one. And that it does a great job, but I miss the heart of Spider-Man 1 and 2, where like Tobey, like, and I 100% think Tom Holland's a better Spider-Man and Peter Parker overall, if you had to go pair and pair, but the movie and the writing, I miss that heart, and I miss in Homecoming, it feels like everything Spider-Man does eventually works out for him, where people forgive him, where in Spider-Man, the original ones, it felt like there were some big consequences. Amazing Spider-Man felt like a lot of different stuff going on. But with this one, I needed more stakes, I think, in it. Great film, though, and we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so this was important, because when you're talking about your stuff, same thing. I was like, does this deserve top 10 for me? And it didn't make it in. And I'll explain my next pick. It was going back and forth. But Spider-Man Homecoming 11 for me.
Very nice.
Great movie.
Cracking into the top 10 here. And this is another tier shift for me. We're going up to the B tier now. Okay. So these next 3 actually are, like, probably could go in any order. Like, I'm kind of undecided. It's hard to say, but I think at number 10, I'm going to put... I think I'm going to put Ant-Man at number 10.
Okay.
I think Ant-Man for me is a lot higher than you guys, mostly because of my big love for Paul Rudd. He's a great dude, and he makes that movie a lot of fun. I love a lot of the kind of action, and I don't know, there's just scenes in that movie that you're not really going to get in any other Marvel movie, and any other movie really, just with the size shift and whatnot. And I think it does a good job of introducing other characters in the Ant-Man world, whether it be Hank Pym and his daughter, and like even his crew of bad guys, or his crew of criminals that kind of his heist pals.
Yeah.
Like, I think it just does, even though they're simple characters, they're all introduced well, and it's you've mentioned this a lot, Travis, but it's a movie that I like more and more every time, and there's a new joke I really get attached to, or something I didn't notice before, and even though it has kind of a lame villain, I think that is a big reason why it gets brought down so much. I think the movie really would have been like connected really well and been a lot better had the villain been stronger, but still cracking in the top 10.
Yeah.
So
my prediction, I still think Ant-Man Wasp is going to be better than this. I just have a sneaking suspicion. Those trailers have been great, so
this is true.
It'll be the reverse, where I'll be really hyped for this one, then it'll be like fucking 19 or 20 whenever we see it. Taylor, cracking your top 10. Was I right about Spider-Man Homecoming?
What do you think it is? Just don't know.
Just because when he said that it meant more to him, and I feel like Spider-Man meant more to you. Spider-Man could be higher.
It's really hard to say because I feel like, necessarily your opinions based on our reviews aren't necessarily tied to how this ranking is.
If you were a serial killer, a detective would have a really tough time catching Taylor Field.
Unpredictable.
The way he would pick his villains and whatnot, we've never seen this before.
His victim, just completely random. I have no prediction for you, Taylor. You're the unpredictable.
What would you leave as your calling card if you were a serial killer? Like, I know this is morbid, but what would you leave?
My calling card?
Yeah. I always thought for myself, I wanted, even though I don't play it that much,
just answers the question.
a chess piece. I think that's really ominous. Like, ooh, a chess piece, like a king or a queen. Like, I think that's.
But then,
and then dipped in blood.
Each victim, you would change the chess piece, or would it always?
I think so. Meaning their value of where they rank.
And so when you get to the last piece to fill out a full board, people would be really concerned that it might be the president or something.
Well, yeah, and then or that's how they catch you because serial killers like Dexter. I'd use king for someone in my life that's important or someone that has ties to me, right?
Or so they go in the guy's house and there's a chessboard set up that's missing a bunch of pieces and
yeah, so
that's odd.
So yeah, Taylor. And Dylan, you can answer this.
Monopoly money would be pretty cool, I guess.
Wow, that'd be you are the most they never catch you. This fucker leaves Monopoly money by dead bodies.
It's pretty wild.
Dylan?
Oh man, I think mine would be leaving some really obscure music, like some boombox or something that's just playing really loud music, and I would just leave it there on repeat or something.
You gotta time that right though, because if people hear too early and they run out and they see you.
I know it would be very difficult to time, but I'm sure over the course of various victims, I would perfect it.
I think you should go with the boombox. I think you should go with something a bit more.
Yeah, but I don't know why I said boombox.
Because then you could be something where it's you're far away, you hit play, and then you're good.
They can track you though. That's dangerous.
He can figure out ways. So you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? If there's a killer that's leaving boomboxes, Monopoly money, or chess pieces, we're completely fucked. So a serial killer, if they're watching us, they're I'm gonna do that, and they're gonna go after these guys.
I'm gonna do all three.
Sorry, Gwen, your dad's going to prison. So what is your 10? I'm dying to know.
My number 10 is Iron Man 1. Now,
okay, fair enough.
Iron Man 1, I can't remember, it's tied with another film, but I don't remember exactly which one was the first one that I did watch when I was young. My first entryway into the Marvel universe, this whole phase cinematic experience. But Iron Man 1.
Iron Man 1.
Help
me out, big guy.
Iron Man 1 just holds a place in my heart, it was Robert Downey Jr.'s, dive into this character, and it was such a great experience to watch. I loved it. Me and my dad, we got into the Iron Man train there, and Iron Man 1 was my gateway in. It's my gateway drug.
It was your gateway drug.
Number 10 for me, just cracking the top 10. This was what was going back between Spider-Man Homecoming was Thor Ragnarok. This is a movie that I enjoyed a lot more the second time when I watched it a second. Yeah, I said that already.
You got it.
Yeah, for me, it's still some of the humor hurts a little bit because they kill some moments or they move them really quick. We are talking about spoilers here. If you haven't seen it, come on, why are you watching a Marvel ranking one? But when Odin dies, I feel it moves on very quickly, stuff like that. And I feel like Loki gets a little bit of the back shaft in the movie. But other than that, I really enjoyed it. And I think it deserved for me to be in crack the top 10 because humor is fantastic when it does hit. And there's some great character moments, and I think it's I want to see more of this type of Thor universe. Even though I like one of the Thors better, which maybe you know because I already ranked the other one. But I think that Thor has had its time to be what it was, and I don't think we can get back there, and I don't think we should. I think this is Thor evolving into another character, and that's why it's still lower than that Thor, but I really enjoy this one. And the stuff with Hulk and Thor, I think that's some of the best stuff ever.
Really good.
The fight, him going into the parade, there's a fly, don't worry. Just their back and forth banter when Thor is sticking in his home for a little.
Banter with Banner.
When they're in his home for a little bit, and a huge shout to "It's my birthday!" When I saw this, I don't know why I don't remember the first time.
You always do the keyboard.
When I saw it the second time, I died laughing, and I'm waiting for an HD version on YouTube because it's gonna be my ringtone at some point. So yeah, nice. Thor Ragnarok cracking my top 10. We're on to number 9, Mr. West.
Number 9. So once again, these kind of 8, 9, and 10 are sort of in contention. I think this is where I'm gonna drop Spidey. Yeah, I'm gonna drop Spidey here because I just watched it again last week or something like that. And yes, it's not perfect, but at the end of the day, we talk about Spidey so much, and I love the Peter Parker stuff, and I love Spidey. And like, there's a couple like scenes that stand out. Like for one, when he's like tracking those guys in the van at like the gas station, and he just like learned about all these new modes that he has in his suit. And like I don't know, it's just such a funny scene. And then when he's locked up in that like containment place, and he's kind of just messing around talking to Karen.
How long have I been here? 23 minutes.
What? It's those kind of scenes that really bring it up for me, and like just because I feel like it's such a different Spider-Man than we've gotten before, because he actually is younger and it feels like he's in high school, and it just makes for some really fun moments, and there's other good characters in this movie as well. And I've talked about many times how I'm disappointed as well at the Vulture, like the ending, how he kind of takes out himself. I think would have much better if he actually fought and won that fight,
and a big disappointment, might spoil it for later, but Shocker
is also a pretty big disappointment.
I think that's another salty Doctor Strange thing, where it's like that just disappointed me so much when they said Shocker's going to be in there, and he doesn't even have the mask. He doesn't even have the mask.
You got to make Shocker hyper cheesy.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, it's still number 9.
Yep.
Love Spidey.
Oh, my number 9 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised, I guess, yeah.
I like Guardians 1 better. I'm pretty sure I even say that in my other review.
Yeah, you do. Because now, at first you were right, because I think it was us, and then Kyle, and you guys both liked it more, so it's 50-50.
That made no sense to me.
Us and Kyle when we reviewed it. I think Briggs was there, but Briggs was undecided, and we were like, me and Dylan maybe liked it better that time, and then you guys were the reverse. So.
Yeah, no, I just think it's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. I love all the transitions, the music, everything. I think it was fantastic, and the more exploration of the characters and everything. It's definitely a worthy sequel. But for me, I just Guardians 1 was just better for me. But that being said, it's a good movie, and I think that it definitely it establishes a good what's the word?
I don't know where you're going, but backstory for more characters.
Well, backstory, but story-wise, I really do enjoy how it kind of sets up and leads towards Infinity War.
Foundation.
Right. Yeah, foundation, yeah. So that's what I really enjoy with it. But I definitely top 10 for me, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Number 9 for me, it was a back and forth between my next pick. It might sometimes change, just depending on the day. You asked me, even as I'm looking at it now, I'm like, I might want to change it, but I'll tell you why. Same thing when I get to 8, but right now, number 9 is Incredible Hulk, and then I'll explain more when we get to 8, because they're kind of
fair enough
side by side.
So, my next one, number 8 here, is Avengers 2. So it's pretty high. Top 10, yeah. And so, when I look at it, I think, Spider-Man Homecoming and Ant-Man, I would say that, structurally, they're, better movies than Avengers 2, and Avengers 2, has quite a few issues that the other movies don't have, but the reason it's higher is just because, we get to see so many different characters and storylines, and I love the backstory for Hawkeye, and we get so many great moments between the characters that are established in the other movies, and I like Ultron. He's a villain I didn't really like the first time I saw it, but when we rewatched it and talked about it in the review, it's a character that I like more the second time. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they don't have the best intro, but I just love Scarlet Witch, her look and her powers and stuff, so she gets naturally higher in my eyes because of that. And Vision as well. I really like Vision, and I think it was a fun intro for him as well. It's just, overall, it's a fun movie, and while it may not be perfect, it's still, second Avengers, and I think it gets, I think too many people throw shade at it. I think it deserves to be seen as higher than it is.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My number 8 is Thor Ragnarok. Now, I definitely like it over Guardians 2, but
clearly,
it definitely. I think the transition that they were making for it. I mean, clearly you can see that they killed off everything right away with Thor. That Thor 2 and Thor 1 had to offer, and took a totally new direction because, I mean, Feige, Marvel, they all knew that
Feige,
that was not good, and we're going to totally wipe out and do something different. And I like that. I saw Thor 3 times in theaters. I went with you guys, I took my girlfriend, then I took my dad.
Ragnarok, you mean? I didn't know you went
Ragnarok. Yeah.
Ragnarok.
So,
3 times in theaters. I can't remember the last time I
Force
have
Awakens,
seen
I think,
anything
for me.
more than once in theater. Well,
Oh, Civil War
Civil
too.
War,
Yeah, Civil
but that
War.
was like the last. I can't think of anything else.
Yep.
Other than that. It's been a while.
It was just such a good movie. I did not get tired of it, you know, especially that it's my birthday. Like that was really good.
Yeah.
Just so much humor and Thor's innocence in these situations. I loved it. Valkyrie, like fantastic. I mean, Loki definitely was kind of dipping down a little bit, but it was still great.
I'm so
It was
surprised
good.
those Thor other films are so spaced from this one, especially because you're such a big Loki fan. Like those are such.
I'm a Loki fan, but then I'll even give it to the Doctor Strange little cameo in there. I love Doctor
Yeah.
Strange, so again, that's huge.
Huge.
Just there's so much humor and just the way they transitioned it made it a different movie on its own. I really like that. So.
Mhm. Well, you were talking about Thor, and I was. Thor is my number. We're 7 or 8.
8.
We're at 8. Yeah, that was my 8. I went back and forth between Incredible Hulk. I like them both for similar reasons. I like the leads. Incredible Hulk, I'm a big Edward Norton fan, and I really wish he continued on. I like what he did with the character. Hemsworth, I think, does a really solid job as Thor in this movie. He feels like Thor, especially in this. This is the most like cocky, arrogant Thor in the first one, so I like that. I like the worlds they're both playing in, whether this is a big fantasy Lord of the Rings world or it's like a Jason Bourne chase movie. The only thing I gave the edge to Thor liking more is the Loki stuff because I think it's phenomenal in that movie. I think that's the movie he really gets to shine when you get to start with him as like a normal guy to finding out he's adopted, but adopted in the worst way where he's like this stolen child and you know like completely lied about. And I think it's out of almost all of them other than maybe one, it's the villain that feels the most warranted and it makes sense, and it's like you see from his point of view he might not be a villain. Same thing, he goes about things the wrong way. But where Blonsky, I really like, but at the end of the day, he's just like a powerhouse and he becomes Abomination. Where I like I think Thor has more heart, and that's why I got the bump for me for Incredible Hulk. But those went back and forth because I love Incredible Hulk.
You're zero for
Number-
strange reasons.
Lucky number 7 now.
Lucky number 7. This for me has got to be Ragnarok.
Mhm.
You know, just a movie that, like every time I rewatch it, it's just a good time. It's just I think maybe one reason it could have been better is like if it really fulfilled like some of the storylines that were in the first 2 Thor movies, even though I obviously don't like those movies and they're, you know, in my bottom tier here. But I feel like there was maybe some injustice there, you know, in terms of those characters or that world or something.
Yeah.
But I can't be mad because at the end of the day, it's a really fun movie and there's a lot of really good scenes and good moments and, you know, it's my birthday. And yeah, there's just so much happening in this movie and a lot of good jokes. You know, you get Korg. What a great character Korg is.
Yeah.
And yeah, really good setup leading into Infinity War, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I love the color schemes of it as well. It's just a fun movie to look at as well.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
And yeah, I think Thor is
Except for that Odin scene.
except for the Odin scene. Oh God.
That CGI,
That backdrop
right?
CGI,
Yeah. They could have
Forgot
just
about
went
that.
on location for one fucking day, go to New Zealand where they shot the Shire, like,
Yeah.
come on, it's so
And-
beautiful.
I wanted to see more of Hela, but what I did get, I really enjoyed as well. Yeah, and I think this is Thor's, you know, performance-wise, his best movie, no doubt.
I
So
think I agree.
yeah, good times.
My number 7, and this was a bit of a struggle for me to put, but
Don't cover your mouth. What are you doing?
Yeah, you're on a podcast.
this is a bit of a struggle for me, but Doctor Strange, number 7.
Struggle too high or too low?
Hmm?
Struggle because you thought it was too high
I
or
think
too
it's
low?
too low.
Okay.
I'd like to put it a little higher,
It's
but,
your list, yeah.
but that being said, like I love Doctor Strange. You know, a big part of my family is into the whole spiritualism, crystals, chakras, that sort of thing. So his kind of perspective in using energies and applying that to like the superpower that anyone can tap into, I really like that. I think it's super cool, and I haven't bought a lot of Marvel movies lately because they are expensive and I have other things I have to buy, but this is one that I'm keeping my eye out because as far as I'm concerned, my next Marvel movie I will be buying, it is Doctor Strange, 110%.
110.
It's a fantastic movy.
Fantastic films.
Number 7 for me is Captain America: The Winter Soldier. This movie, similar to Ant-Man, gets better and better every time. The only reasons I didn't like it is I thought it was a little predictable, and I think Falcon's alright in it, and the villains are good enough. I think better than enough, but they're nothing too spectacular. Winter Soldier is great, but he's kind of a mindless zombie, but he does that well. But yeah, it's just such a solid film. Every time I watch it, I'm just like, damn, that's a good movie, and I like it more and more every time. And I think this is the movie where Chris Evans, for me with First Avengers and Avengers, I felt like he was, okay, he's that was him becoming Captain America, not in the sense of like the actual story. I just felt like even acting wise, he's still finding the character. Winter Soldier to me is like, I feel like boom, he gets it, and then he feels 100% like Captain America. And I think that's because the present day stuff helps too, because I always like Captain America in present day as well. So yeah, number 7 for me, Winter Soldier, damn good movie.
Damn good. Number 6 for me, this is where I'm gonna put Black Panther. Very solid movie and a lot of fun, but I really need to see it again for it to be like properly ranked. But I think it goes to show how good the movie is on its own. That even with that kind of maybe foggy or like once over view of it, it still is like boom right up there at number 6. And
boom, there it is.
Boom, there it is. Yeah, a lot of good character moments.
So I did that.
I guess that is. That is. I've only seen it once. So.
He also does it in the theater. Remember? No, why you say you've only seen it once?
Black Panther?
No, in Avengers 2 when
right,
looking for this, like it's something that. And then remember joking in the theater, they were showing an interview with him, and they're like, "Oh, Hulk and War Machine, yeah, that's all you need." He's like, "Boom!" He loves saying "boom."
Yeah, he's essentially like he is War Machine. he was a born War Machine. It's just so many awesome characters, and it's a Marvel movie that feels very different. That's in its tone, that's in like its visual style, that's in its music. That's in its characters and its development, like everything, and yet it still does feel like it fits, and I think that's a testament to how much thought they put into all these movies and how they're looking forward and looking ahead and trying to do different styles, but yet it still all feels part of the MCU. And yeah, Wakanda's a really really cool place, a lot of fun characters. Number 6.
Number 6.
My 6 is Captain America: Civil War. I really, really enjoyed Civil War. I've watched it many, many times.
Not enough.
Over on Netflix.
Not enough for top 5.
This one is the only where you're wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're definitely wrong here. And I think you're wrong, Black Panther. The fact that Panther's on top 10 and this is on top 5, what's going on over here?
Yeah, Black Panther not top 10 is pretty sus.
Yeah, 10, I'd be like, okay, fair enough, but 9 top 10.
They're good movies, but they're just, these other movies, I like them a lot more and what they bring to the table.
Apparently.
So what is it about Civil War that plays it at numero 6?
Civil War, I really like Spider-Man's introduction in this movie.
Right.
I really do like Black Panther's introduction into this movie as well. Yes, this movie is lower.
Hater.
But, I think you have to look at the fact that the characters are also different as opposed to the movies.
We have to
Just
look
like
at
you
nothing
say,
other than you're wrong.
You say, the movie could still be good, but Iron Man or Robert Downey Jr. is a character in that he brings, and we have to separate them sometimes. So that's what I looked at this. Like, yes, Black Panther is a good movie, but Black Panther is a character I really, really like.
Mm-hmm. I
really like him in Civil War. I really like Spider-Man in Civil War. I love, Vision, Hawkeye, all the characters that they brought to the table. It always feels like it's an Avengers movie in my, to me, at the end of the day. But I have to remember, no, it's not. Holy crap, it's Civil War. So, it's number 6. I enjoy it a lot. And I'll probably rewatch it within the next month after Infinity War.
Okay.
I watched it 2 days ago.
Nice.
Yeah. Number 6, before we get into the top 5, Iron Man, the OG one.
OG.
Obviously we talk about Downey, he's the star in this, but this is the film that, this gets almost like a bump up of legacy, because it's almost now when I watch nostalgia, because I think it honestly is, it's either this or Avengers, which is the most important comic book movie ever. And I'm even saying that as the man who loves Dark Knight more, but if you look at the scheme of not just comic movies, but Hollywood, if this movie doesn't hit, we're not doing this. Well, we might be doing a podcast, but we might not be talking about this, it had to deliver so well, and it did for the most part. Yeah, there's some weak storylines here or there, or maybe the villain and the ending fights, but I really enjoy it. I think it is one of the best comic book movies still every time I watch it. It's just enjoyable, whether that's Downey because we spend most of the time down in that movie, but even the science stuff is cool as shit in that movie. I could watch the whole movie of that. And and the other thing is it sets the tone. Yes, they go away from it at times, like a Black Panther. Even Incredible Hulk feels different, but it always still feels like it originated from that Iron Man movie. That feels exactly like what they wanted. They looked and they said, and obviously they've talked about being a big plan, and I think they did change some stuff here and there, but they really said, hey, with this first movie, we want to get the tone of what our entire universe is. Iron Man is that. That's the quintessential. If I said, hey, you had to watch 3 MCU movies, that would be it. Not even from quality, just from this sets everything you're gonna know. So, and it's just a really great movie. So, cool. Top 5 now.
We are in the top 5. One thing I just noticed that we haven't had anything in common except for Dark World.
Nope. But, yeah,
We've all taken
our
different
number ones
paths
are
in life.
definitely not going to be common.
A lot of differences. Number 5 for me is going to be Doctor Strange.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Doctor Strange makes it in the top 5. I love the visual style. I love the kind of effects and trippy sequences. I love the characters. I like the change that he as a character has from like this very by the books analytical, there's a correct answer to everything, to kind of opening up his mind, as he says, into believing in his heart and energy and all this stuff. I love Caecilius and Dormammu. I think they're both, like, obviously Dormammu is kind of more of a ending thing.
I love Dormammu.
I think for, yes, like, if you look at like him as a villain compared to others, he's gonna fall lower just because he's not in it a whole lot. He's more of like an idea. But I like for what he's used for in the movie, I think it's perfect. Like, it's such a cool looking scene, and it's just a really smart way of, like, I think as Doctor Strange showing like how he's gonna get over this thing, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool because it's the only like villain that isn't defeated by like him dying, right? He's defeated because he's kind of like outsmarted or maybe like brought to boredom, and then he decided, I don't know. I think it's a really interesting, and like visually it looks cool as well. I also I love that they put through some Pink Floyd love in there, one of the deep cuts. I think it's a nice shout out considering that Pink Floyd has had a song that kind of references Doctor Strange, and one of their album covers is a Doctor Strange comic strip. Yeah, I love that movie. It's a good one, and I can proudly put it in the top 5.
Wow.
Proudly. And also one more thing, he is cruising around the Himalayas, and that's probably what I'll be doing this time next week, so that also to me is really cool. It's very reflective of the things I'm interested in, like styles and stuff like that, so that's why it makes it so high for me, even though it might have some problems here or there.
Hopefully you come
it's
back
very suited to me.
Hopefully you come back as the Sorcerer Supreme.
Hopefully I have the, what is it called? The green...
Eye of Agamotto.
The Eye of Agamotto, and I can, do magic and
do
stuff.
some doors.
Do some doors.
My number 5. Top 5. I snuck in there. Yes, this is a movie that, just like Iron Man 1, it was one of the first movies I was exposed to the Marvel universe, and it's just something that, my dad loved. I loved it so much. Your
dad doesn't love it anymore?
He still loves it.
Okay.
Yeah. I could go back and rewatch it who knows how many times. It was something that me and Travis both got excited about. Yeah. Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton, this movie was just fantastic. I loved Abomination. I loved how, he portrayed the
17.
Hulk. He, just the way as the Hulk, I just loved him so much in this movie. Just when his slow-mo entrance and he breaks through the glass of that library place and goes down, and then the school, they just have the fucking military coming into this school, shooting up the place. And Hulk's just dishing it out. Like, it's just so epic. It's like, I'd love to be the Hulk, but there's a downside to it. It's like, don't, but I can see it.
There's a
on
big
the screen.
downside.
Yeah.
Could be stuck in it for various years, like Ragnarok.
So, I just think this movie is absolutely fantastic. And now after talking about it, I want to go and watch it right now. I'm feeling Hulk.
I love that movie, and I get your love for it. I just don't know. Even Black Panther, for your taste, I can see why. I'm still surprised it's higher than Civil War. That one's a tough pill for me to swallow. That is higher than Civil War.
That's actually, like, mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's...
Like, that might be the most controversial thing you've ever said on the podcast.
Really?
And you have a long list of controversies.
If you're a new viewer, my top 5, it might be a little, I don't know, a controversial pick, but Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. Great movie.
I don't think that would be...
I think so.
Why?
Because it's my next pick.
Okay.
We'll get into it, but and this is one, honestly, that when these last 3, or these next 3, 5, 4, and 3, they went back and forth quite a bit, and this is one. Actually, my top 5 did quite a bit. 1 and 2 went back and forth, but the 5, 4, and 3, multiple times I've watched, and I just end up going with, I think there's movies that could be a little better. Not necessarily that. I can understand why people may enjoy ones better, but for me, I just went with what do I like more personally, because I think they're all pretty solid for me, and they're the same. The only reason why this one gets a knock above below 4 is because of the villain, and I like Ronan a little, but he's pretty meh. He's pretty basic.
Yeah.
But the rest of it, fresh take on the universe. If you talk about like all of them following Iron Man, I think this is the closest one, or this is the one that gets the closest to not being that. It has that comedic tone, but it feels very, very different. It feels very weird and very strange. No pun intended for Doctor Strange. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, the OG one, at my top 5.
Nice.
Number 5.
Number 4 for me. I should have mentioned 2. So Doctor Strange and Ragnarok, those were kind of in the and Black Panther, those were in the A tier.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in the S tier. So these, that's the top 4, which are the highest in my opinion. And this is where I'm going to put Guardians 2 here. Okay. So, I love both Guardians movies, obviously, because they're both here in the top 4. Mm-hmm. But, when we saw Guardians 2, I was thinking, like, no way, like, this is better than the first one. I like this one more. But then when we, did the retro and we watched Guardians again, that switched right back, and I realized how much, I love that movie even more. So, but both of them are outstanding, and obviously they're both my top 4. Guardians 2, like, so much is going on in this movie. So many great character moments, so much good comedy, awesome soundtrack, really tailored to, the events of the movie, and it really brings the pacing up as well. Yondu, beautiful character. He only had 2 movies, but what a send-off he had. It was very warranted. And I like Ego as a villain. I think he's one of the better, one of the best Marvel villains in the MCU. Really, tied down to the character, and I just love all the different pairings we get to see in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's different from the first one, and we get to see, all sorts of different combinations of characters and involving with the new characters, and I feel like everyone gets fleshed out. My only knock on it is that I want more Gamora. I feel like we didn't really get enough of her.
I would disagree, Bill.
That's Guardians 2, number 4.
My number 4 is Spider-Man: Homecoming. I really, really love Spider-Man, and I love Spider-Man: Homecoming. Vulture as a villain, I loved it so much in this film. I own it. I've watched it a bunch of times.
He owns it.
I skipped it, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's just, I do enjoy the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I enjoy the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, but just, I feel like this turnaround with Marvel having much more of a grip on the wheel, they just really brought a fantastic character to life by throwing him in with the Avengers and just getting to see what's gonna happen. And I don't know, it's probably Infinity War that's giving me a little bit extra chill seeing him in the trailers and stuff. Just has me even more excited for what's to come with him. Mm-hmm. But from start to finish in that movie, it was just an awesome thrill ride, and I just really liked how they portrayed a villain just being, relating to these high school kids and having to be a parent and just doing it. I love the point of view when it comes to villains. It's not just your typical dine and dash kind of attitude. It's just they're.
I like that.
It comes to a point of view, that certain point of view, Jedi are evil, and I love it. So.
Jedi are evil? Don't really know where that.
Jedi are evil?
Yeah, from my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Okay.
Certain point of view.
Wild.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Just throws down a quick meat.
Yikes. Number 4 for me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Just gave it a slight bump over Guardians. I think for me is the villain, and then Dylan said a lot of great things, so I won't retread. I'll just say what I've been saying since I reviewed it. I'm going to say this till the day I die as well. For me, it's the Pulp Fiction of comic book movies, where the biggest knock in this film, that's why I think Guardians 2 is probably lower on a lot of people's list, and it's definitely not above the first one, but for me, it's just everyone goes, oh, where's the story? To me, the characters are the story. You learn so much about Nebula and Gamora's relationship, you learn so much about Yondu, you learn a lot about Star-Lord and his dad, and I understand that, yes, Chris Pratt and Star-Lord takes a little bit of a back seat, but I think it happens because you need that for the story, because he's learning about his dad. He's not telling his dad much, so you learn a lot more about Rocket. You learn enough about Groot. Groot's kind of more your comedic relief. I would say, of course, you get, probably Drax does get the back burner as well, I'd say, and I think lots of people don't like that his humor kind of changes to more potty humor than...
He has, no action scenes.
Yeah, which, that doesn't bug me. I don't care. He's gonna fight fucking 10,000 people in Infinity War. I'm gonna see Batista kill a bunch of people. I'm fine with him in his quiet moments. But yeah, it's just that I love character more than story, and a great character, something like Iron Man, can raise it. It's the same thing. I use this a few times. People will hate it. That's why with Justice League versus Batman versus Superman, I like Batman versus Superman more because they do, and particularly Ben Affleck does a great job being Batman. Justice League, he's not a great job being Batman, and to me that can make all the difference. And if the characters are great and they're well acted, I can like it more. Like Iron Man 2, like Iron Man 3, stuff like that. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for me is number 4. I was saying with 3 we should reveal that, but when we do 1 and 2, should we reveal them at the one time when we go, you do your 1, 2, I 1, 2, 1, 2? Because won't we just... because if we say 2, we'll know. Everyone will know what our 1 was. So I think
That depends how closely they're listening. I say we just, do 1 at a time.
Fair enough.
Number 3, however, it comes first. It comes third. It's gonna be Avengers. It's gonna be Avengers for me. The big team up. Just had a few movies to set up some of the characters, and it really knocked it out of the park, truly. And I don't really have much to say. Like I can't really think of any flaws with the movie. It has Loki as your villain. He's a fantastic villain. You have some great action scenes. Whether it's the smaller kind of minor characters as well, all seem to have like enough time and are interesting enough. And I think it's just a really good sign of like what's to come. We're gonna see these characters crossing over into each other's movies. We're gonna see a big team up every once in a while.
Yeah.
And it really. Like, obviously, you have to make it count, right? We talked about DC and how they had the same amount of movies setting up to Justice League, but like
Justice League feels like it didn't even happen.
It seems very inconsistent, right?
Forget about it.
I kind of forget that the Justice League movie is in existence.
Or you'd never forget about the Avenger movie. That is like same thing as Iron Man. That's so important because if that doesn't work, it's like, oh, this crossover idea, what a dumb idea. And we've seen people like The Mummy and like Ghostbusters and like other things try it, and it hasn't worked, like, because it's not easy. It's not easy just to, we'll throw a movie with a bunch of characters.
It's so hard to make a movie like this, a big team up, where every character feels like they got their moments. Obviously in Justice League, there's a couple characters that I kind of like, and that's usually how it goes. Like, there's a couple characters that people like, but then the other kind of fall flat. Whereas Avengers 1, everyone's awesome. Everyone's fun to see.
Hawkeye. Even though I agree with you as far as...
Yeah, Hawkeye, I guess in retrospect, the opinion's kind of skewed, right? Because he gets his time of day in Avengers 2.
Yeah.
But, Avengers 1. True classic.
My number 3 is also actually Avengers 1.
Nice.
I think it was fantastic to see the combination of all these heroes and their films connect at long last. Starting, with Iron Man 1, it's just super cool to see, after having a long time without Hulk on screen, to get to see him make his appearance. Like, I just think they did a great job at incorporating so many things, and the way that they thought to have the interactions and the personalities connect with each other, it was fantastic. And I think that a lot of movies, when they want to do, or a lot of storylines want to strive to have movies connect multiple characters like this, I think everyone and every company or studio out there should look at Marvel and the first Avengers and sit down and take notes for how it was done, and do it not the way they did it, but properly in a way that, is succeeding.
Not the way they did it.
So, there's your Justice Leagues out there, unfortunately, but, I think Avengers definitely has risen the bar so high that I hope eventually someday someone will be able to, probably won't happen, but eventually can meet that bar and keep it going. But Avengers, fantastic.
Yeah, I have Avengers as 3 as well. Yeah.
We're teaming up again.
I'm not gonna say much more because these guys said stuff and I backed them up 100%. I guess what I'll say is why I put it over Guardians, because when I made this original list, when I had like Spider-Man up at 8, originally it was all over the place where I had like it in between the Guardians, and then I had Guardians, both of them higher, and then I had Avengers. I just went with 1, what do I like more, because I do like more characters in Avengers, and 2, I just went with the stakes. Even though, yes, in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, like, the Earth is at risk, it doesn't feel like that because it's off screen and it's just this blue goop where you really feel like, I guess the best way to sum it up, there's that one moment where Cap gets shot in the stomach and Thor saves him and he's just like, are you ready for another? And he picks him up and they're just like both damaged, they're both hurt. It just reminds me of like Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep, where it's just like that moment where you actually feel like the dread coming, like we may lose this, even though you know it's not going to. When a movie you know 100% these guys aren't going to die and you feel, hey, they might die, that's where I got it just above is just the stakes. I love movies that can feel grander. I've said it before. That's why I hate the DCU movies. Not hate them, but I hate the endings of them all. That it's always in every movie the world's at stake. For this one, this was the first one in the MCU where it felt like the entire world is at risk. And I don't think there's a comic movie that has done world at risk better than this yet. And I think Infinity War could be that. Where Avengers 2, they tried that and there's a flaw there. Like, it didn't feel the same way. Where this, it just feels so grand and epic, and that's my game.
And they follow through with that too, right? Like the events, like obviously, you know, the villain in Spider-Man: Homecoming, which comes out however many movies later, is like directly tied to what happened in that movie, and it all comes back.
Civil War, like the Accords, like they call back to this quite a bit. It's very much like Iron Man 1, where it sets the foundation.
It's just an introduction, even though to some it would maybe be like a
finale.
Yeah, a big finale.
Yeah.
Number two. On to number 2. This is where I'm going to put Guardians of the Galaxy, numero 1. You know, I don't really have any flaws with this movie. I originally was kind of down on Ronan, but watching it again, like, I actually think he's fine. I think he's fun. I think he looks cool. He's badass. And
coming back, too.
He's coming back, yeah. That's
Marvel,
true.
I'm very excited,
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with him. That'll be very interesting.
I think they're going to Guardians Galaxy 2 for you, where they might make you enjoy him even more.
Right.
Because I think people know, like, he's not the most hated, but people go, oh yeah, he's alright. Yeah. I think they might retroactively make Ronan.
It's exactly what you said earlier. He's just kind of basic, but to me it's like...
Cool basic.
Yeah, it works. And, you know, obviously, once again, the soundtrack and how it's integrated into the movie is really important. And, you know, it's music I like, so I relate there. It's crazy how many characters they introduce in this movie, and it feels like all of them get their time. You know, you just talked about how Hawkeye maybe is kind of shafted a bit in Avengers 1, but I guess you can kind of say that for Drax in this movie, or at least
I don't think so.
Well, that's what I would have said, like,
I guess
back when I first saw it. I've really turned now, and I'm a big Drax fan, but originally I wasn't. But it's just... You know, I think, you know, I love doing this in retrospect because we can see, like, where these stories are going, and when you look back at how their introductions were, it all feels perfect. There's so many memorable scenes in this movie. If we did end up doing the top, you know, the best... whoa, voice crack. I haven't had that in a while. If we did end up doing the best scenes, you know, for this ranking episode, I'm sure there would be a lot from my end coming from this movie. So, yes, number 2.
Actually, I know one of yours, but I don't know. I'm interested to see. I've forgotten what one of yours could be, because I know Mr. Must's. I knew his 1 and 2, but yours, I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's way too
What's the other one you know?
Well, I know Guardians is somewhere for you.
That's number 2.
Okay.
You don't know the other one?
No, I haven't
This
figured
is
it out.
exciting.
I haven't
This is
figured
exciting.
There's so many movies we've talked about.
It, yeah.
So yeah, number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy. I think start to finish, it's fantastic. The way they introduce all the characters with their storylines in one movie, you know, I didn't know that you could properly do that, but they did it, and it was such an amazing thrill ride from start to finish, like I said. And it's a movie that I own the steel case for it. I could rewatch it so many times.
That's when you know it's prime, when you want to steal.
What movie is your first?
Is
it Iron Man 2?
I'm really worried. Yeah.
Have you said Iron Man 2?
So I'm gonna say that, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy I absolutely love, and it holds a place right up there on my shelf with all my other Marvel movies and my other steel cases.
Yeah, I figured it out when I was
Iron Man
talking.
2.
Yeah,
That's so heartbreaking.
This was tough for me. I've gone back and forth. I'll always go back and forth. I'm putting Black Panther as number 2, and I may redact that eventually. I don't know, because for me,
redact it as in you might put it first.
I'm gonna put it first, yeah, because I think it is a better movie than my number 1 pick overall, and I think the reason is, for me, I said this in the review, it hit me a lot more emotionally. The reason, I guess, if we're doing this as an MCU ranking, and I just went with, I'll say that for one. Black Panther is phenomenal. Black Panther to me is Dark Knight level good. It is. I will explain a bit more when I get to 1, but Black Panther, maybe tomorrow I can wake up and be like, man, I should have put it as number 1. I cannot dispute anybody. I think it is one of those top 5 comic movies, along with Dark Knight, along with Logan, where you can say, this is the greatest comic movie, and I can't fight you. And I'm just very impressed by Marvel and Disney that, you know, this is their last one before Infinity War, and they did a great job where many franchises, you know, a lot of horror franchises, but Transformers and that, they start to get quite a bit worse as they go along. And Marvel, they either keep it consistently good or they just get better. And it's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of frustrating, I imagine, for other film companies and whatnot.
I'm excited to watch it again.
Yeah.
I want to see it again.
Number one.
Number one is, of course, Civil War for me. We talk about how, characters, every character getting, their proper amount of time. And this movie...
Definition of it.
Yeah, this is...
It's my number one, too, so I'll just talk about it, Dylan.
Yeah, it really... it shocked us. I think a big part of it is that we saw it, we got to see it a month early, and we had to drive out to Vancouver, a few-hour drive, and we were just, hanging out the whole time, and then to do that, and then we almost had the scare where, maybe our tickets weren't working, and we were not going to get into the movie, but then we did, and it just delivered so hard in, every single category, and the whole ride home, we were just, raving about how amazing this movie was, and, it's these memories that I think bring it up as, the best movie, because every time I've watched it, I've just liked it more. Every character has their amazing moments. It is an awesome introduction for Spider-Man and for Black Panther. You kind of forget that happens in this movie, but it does, and it still feels justified, and just the interactions between the different characters, the story point between Cap and Iron Man that was kind of budding and feuding for so long, and obviously this is a very, very important movie for all these characters and this world, and I think the villain it was something different, but it still worked really well because it was more pitting the heroes against each other as opposed to being a big, scary, powerful character.
Because technically Zemo is the villain, but I still think Iron Man kind of is a villain 1B, in a sense, because he is the antagonist at points. And then that's what I love about this movie, where at the end of this movie, you don't really know if he's the antagonist anymore, because Cap knew that this guy killed his mom and he didn't tell him, and that's where it's so great, because they did such a good job establishing Cap as this do-gooder, by-the-book guy, very much like the comic books, so that's why I love the storyline comic books. It's one of my favorite storyline comic books. And the movie's still set up so when Cap turns, you feel it's earned, but it's still something unique, because it's you would think he's with the government, but after Hydra, after all the experience, it makes sense from his point of view, right? And then with Downey, that was the thing. I went in the movie full on, I'm Cap, it's not going to sway. By the end of the movie, you go, I can see both sides. And I said this before, so it's a broken record. I was so scared when they walk into that facility and they set up the whole, there's 8 other Winter Soldiers. And man, this is going to fucking suck. It's going to be Cap and Iron Man versus, just a bunch of Winter Soldiers. What a lame ending. But the fact that, no, you get in there, they're all dead. The movie's constantly subverting your expectations. You think one thing's going to happen, and then another happens. And that fight is so good. Just the "you killed my mom" line is so perfect. And you didn't earn that. My dad made that shield every single moment, even from it just ending to him leaving that phone. And it's just, I guess that's why I got my number one too, because I feel it is the perfect MCU Marvel movie, because you have your humor, you have great action, you have, and we talk about best scenes, the greatest, I still think, action scene of all time, that airport scene, does not get better than that. There's no better fit. If I had to watch one scene, it's that or the Dark Knight interrogation scene. It is just an adrenaline rush, and it's just the perfect MCU movie. Great ending, great humor, great drama, great emotion, has it all. So that's why I gave it a bit bump over Black Panther, because it just feels, it incorporates everything that the MCU's done. And I think it will, because I think Infinity War should be pretty similar, because it's the same director, so I think it's going to have a similar tone. So, Taylor Field.
You gotta explain this one.
So, you're talking about the experiences and, the memory for you guys.
It's important. It is very important.
It is very important. So, for me, when I got my first job, and I actually started to earn an income for myself, I went to HMV, which doesn't exist anymore, and I bought myself Iron Man 2, the DVD digital copy version with the soundtrack, because I loved Iron Man 1 that much. I bought it, I went home, I watched it, and I thought, this is fantastic. I love this. This is something that I bought for myself, and I get to see this hero come to life, and I get to see him not only finally team up with War Machine, which I thought was so badass at the time, and it's even now, even still badass, but I loved it so much, and seeing Russian Iron Man, Whiplash, brought into play here. I thought he was very cool to see, there is this darker side again to Tony Stark that was, his father that was thrown to the side, and, the crimes of Stark have finally caught up to him, and it was so cool to see Tony kind of have to react and deal with the situation, but we also get to kind of see a little nod towards where they were heading with the Avengers. Again, that just got me so fantastic, excited. And again, with Scarlett Johansson introduced, there were so many awesome things thrown in. I loved the hammer drone scene. That fight scene just carries it so high for me. I love it so much. It's just, there's so much I could keep going on with this movie, the scenes and everything. I love seeing Tony Stark and Pepper Potts finally connect, and I love seeing him kind of be locked down in his house again and just kind of like have to figure things out and build a new element. Like, there's just so many
out of his
things.
house. I like that's a pro.
That was a cool scene.
There's so many things I could take away from this movie that I just really, really love, and it's a movie that, again, like, I could just rewatch again and again and again. Again, another thing I'm just gonna throw out there too is just seeing him try out like a different suit, the suitcase suit. Again, I love all these different things, and it just totally took the first movie and expanded in so many different directions and gave us a taste of like what we're gonna get, what could come, and just really opens up the mind a bit.
What about Justin Hammer?
Justin Hammer, I don't like him.
Fair enough.
No.
Said the thrill there. I will not say anything else because you know it's your favorite and you have your favorite.
Once again, you shock me with the things you say.
Always shock me. If you've never listened to Taylor podcast, his list describes exactly what takes
best MCU movie.
Okay, Stan Lee cameos. This should take a lot quicker because there's not much to say about these, but they're fun. We thought it would be something fun to do. Taylor, did you have a top 10 or did you?
I did top 10 Stan Lee cameos.
Okay, so me and Dylan and they are gonna be going here for a while.
You guys
We have 8 more.
Well, I mean, I don't have much to say, you know.
Yeah, no, that's what I just mean, like a back and
But you
forth.
guys have ranked them, right? So
Yeah.
you're starting at your worst, going down to your best?
Yeah.
Okay, when you get to 10, just
We'll send it all the way to 10.
18 for me, I'll start off.
I have 20 for some reason. I don't know how, right? It doesn't make any sense. And that's what I was talking to you about. I remember I texted you and I was like, why do I have 20 Stan Lee
Technically
cameos?
in Guardians 2 he's in 2 scenes, but he's the same character.
I don't think that's the one I have.
Okay.
We'll just go through it and see what happens.
Okay, so my least favorite one, Iron Man 3, when he's the judge that holds up the 10. It's so lazy. It's just like he holds up. It's like, cool. Like I said, this is the definition for my list of what makes a great Stan Lee cameo is they wrote the movie and then wrote the Stan Lee cameos like, oh, this is a great idea. Where the bad Stan Lee cameos, the lesser half of the list, is they filmed the movie and good, hey, where could we fit Stan Lee in here? Maybe they did write, and then Stan Lee's the judge, but I like more interactive Stan Lee cameos, or when he's talking, or when he's involved in something important. I don't like I'm the judge. So that's just my criteria for the list, but that's my least favorite. He's the judge. Number 10.
Mine is from... I don't even remember what movie this is from. I think it's like Thor 2 or something, where he's just like some dude on TV. Very quickly in, like,
that's
an interview.
the Avengers.
That's the Avengers, when he's like, superheroes, get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. There's nothing to say about it. It was kind of lame.
Fair enough. Doctor Strange, when he's on the bus reading the paper, it's fun that Cumberbatch hits it and sees it, but it's just like, meh.
Mine is Spidey, where I think he's just like the classic "Hey You Kids" sort of thing, right? He's like a dude.
He's in the window saying,
Yeah.
that's your car, shut up that damn car, or whatever.
Yeah, I put that one there.
Yeah, I don't have that one for some reason, so I'm gonna say you're right, and I'm gonna put that.
I think I have all of them, and there's
Okay.
20 for some reason.
How's there 20?
I don't know.
There's 18 movies.
I've thought about this a lot, and I don't understand. It must be like a post-credit scene or something.
So yeah, I'd say next for me would be the neighbor thing. It's kind of lame. It's like, especially Spider-Man, such a vital character, they couldn't think of anything. Plus, you had the burden of the greatest Stan Lee cameo of all time, Amazing Spider-Man with the librarian.
Yeah, that's my honorable mention, as like that would be number 1 if that was included.
Always, but yeah.
18 for me is when he's the bartender in the Ant-Man like story.
It's sexy, whatever he says, like
Yeah,
that. Fox, yep. I guess we're on 18 now because there's 20, but I still think something's wrong. I don't know what's happening. Numbers are gone in this one. Iron Man 2, Larry King. Okay, fine, it's cool. He looks like Larry King.
This is where I put the judge, the beauty pageant judge one, number 17.
Yep. 7. Or no, because so then I'm 16 because I started, I guess, technically.
I don't know.
Iron Man as Hugh Hef, same thing. I like the Hef one a bit more, but it's the exact same thing as Larry King. It's like, man, it's kind of fun, but
Yeah, you don't like those ones.
no, not really, because it's just a quick flash. I don't like the quick flashes. I like what I'll get into when we get into our like one. So yeah.
I put 16 as the security guard in, I believe it's
Winter
Soldier. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say about like these bottom ones. Like honestly,
No,
they're very kind
lackluster. They're fun in the moment, but it's when you rewatch them, it's like they could have done more at this. But in the
Exactly.
movie,
When you see the movie for the first time, it's like they're almost always like, oh, nice.
You're clapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thor, when he's driving the truck trying to get the hammer, kind of fun, you know, it's near the bum half, but not much of a cameo. He drives it, it takes off the tailpipe, or tailgate, or whatever. And
Right.
So, yeah.
15, I put that he's a vet. I don't know if that's actually true, but I think it's like Cap or someone like walks in and.
Right, like I thought you'd be taller.
I thought you'd be taller. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but not funny enough to be hired.
Yeah, we're getting close. Mine is Avengers, the same thing. There's no such thing as superheroes. It's kind of fun, but like at the same point, same thing as like Avengers. Like this is all we could do.
Yeah, these bottom ones like there's like kind of an order, but
yeah,
it doesn't really matter until like the top 5. Honestly.
Yeah, I just gave it a little preference of what I got a bit of a giggle more out of.
I put Larry King 14.
Mm-hmm. Mine was the I thought you'd be taller for 13.
For 13, I put when he was the Watcher informant thing. Although I also have an arrow here that like signifies that I probably wanted to put it higher than I actually did, but that's where it lies today.
12 for me is Captain America Winter Soldier. I'm gonna get fired for this.
12's Hefner.
Okay. See, you have them back to back too, don't you?
Close.
Or yeah,
the Watcher
close,
informant in between.
11 Thor Dark World when he's a mental patient. He asks for a shoe back. We're getting into the better territory here of Cameo, so I.
That one's higher for me. That one's quite high.
Yeah, I can tell.
What around 11? That's where I put the Thor, pulling the hammer thing.
So now we're on 10. 10 Guardians when he's hitting on the alien and the rocket's just like, look at this cheese or whatever. Like,
yeah, look at these cheese.
Yeah, like pretty good.
I put the bus scene from Doctor Strange. I don't know why I put it so high.
10, the top 10.
Yeah, I guess so.
Captain America First Avenger, I thought he'd be taller. I like that when he walks out.
And these are also, you do not count past Ant-Man as well, right? So your list is,
No, mine is going retrospective only.
9, the Ant-Man one. I like that. Whatever, it's still a line. He doesn't get to speak, but I like the face he makes. So Stan Lee has a great face.
Oh, I think I have 20 because I skipped the numbers 8 and 9 for some reason. So,
there you go. So you really have 18.
Crack the code. I don't know how I did that. No.
10?
I don't know. That's what happened. Number 9 would be number 7. I don't know whatever number. The next one is the rocket scene as well. For me. That one's right there.
Then for me, 1, 2, 3.
Is that your number 9?
I don't even know anymore the numbers.
I just did number 10.
You did 10?
Well, I did 10. Then he would have done his 9.
Because I'm definitely not at 10.
I'm on like 6 now.
Me too.
Go ahead, Taylor. You can catch up. Get to 6.
Get to 6? Okay. My number 9 was Iron Man.
How did
I have 20?
Yeah, I'm at 6.
I
don't know.
Idiot, dude.
I love the Hugh Hefner scene. I think it's hilarious when he just walks up and just like, how you doing, Hef, or whatever, and he turns around like he's supposed to be Hef, but he like turns around like, who are you talking to? Like, I don't know. It's funny. 8, Incredible Hulk when he drinks a soda. I really get a kick out of that. It packed a little more kick than he was expecting or whatever. 7.
8.
Huh?
8. I'm just surprised. Especially because you love Incredible Hulk. I just thought that was going to be a lot higher for you.
It's a good one.
Ant-Man, when he gets, when they're talking about like the information, he's reading the story and he's just, his expression is funny. 7, yeah, 7, that was Ant-Man. What did I say, 8 was Ant-Man?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no, 7 was Ant-Man.
Really screwed up on these Stanley ones.
6, for me, is Avengers 1. Heroes in New York, you gotta be kidding me, or whatever.
I was supposed to start off 6, but that's fine, whatever.
Oh, okay.
Ultron, drunk Stanley, really like that when he calls him out, and he's like, I could drink this, and then he walks away and says Excelsior, and they're helping him off, so he plays the vet, so that's fun.
I had the casino scene from Black Panther up at number 6.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6.
See, I forgot about that too, because I don't have that. Our numbers are all off.
Yeah.
I will say my next one is that one. Whatever fucking number we're at, I'll agree with that, the Black Panther one. It's just like, I'm going to hold that for him, and like, he
kind
just,
of fun.
I like, that's the stuff I like, when he gets a few lines, he gets to be a little cheeky.
Top 5 territory.
Top 5. My number 5, Thor Dark World gets his shoe back. I really get a kick out of that.
I put that there actually as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I put Ragnarok when he cuts Thor's hair.
Yes.
Also because of Chris Hemsworth's reaction is really good. He's like, but like he's just like, oh, sir, and he just has like these knife hands and really good.
Edward Scissorhands, Dealio. I put the Excelsior scene number 4.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is Guardians 1. Rocket kind of talking shit to old man Stan, picking up chicks.
Old man Stan.
Number 4, Tony Stank.
Tony Stank.
Like
that was my
Tony
number
Stank.
3.
Yeah.
Transitions.
My number 3 was the Age of Ultron drunk scene. I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I don't know. I guess I'm on 2 now. I don't know where we are.
You're on 3.
I guess I said 3 already, then I'll say 2 because I only have 2 left, so
okay.
I don't know what happened. Hulk drinking the poison is my number 2.
Me as well.
That was, that's in all the movies a top 5 one. I think it's really well done. You get to use Stanley, and it's used for a story point as well. Yeah, it's a small point, but still that's how they find Banner, and just like you say, quite a kick, and he's just like, whoa, and then like he falls, and it's fantastic. That was the best one until Amazing Spider-Man for me.
It's the best part of Hulk.
Yikes.
That was yours as well?
That was number 2, yeah.
My number 2, Winter Soldier, security guard. I think that's really, really, really funny. Just walking in. It's like, I'm gonna get fired for this.
Number 1 for me is him as the Watcher because 1, it was confirming of the Watchers, so as a comic book fan that was huge because we didn't know where the rights were, and then 2, it went into this huge theory that is kind of right, kind of whatever, but it gave credence to it that Stanley's character in the MCU might be a Watcher, and that's why he pops up in all these movies because he's just watching and taking a record of all the stuff going on for the gods and the histories and whatnot. And I love the fact that if he is a Watcher, it's phenomenal, and it was such. I remember I almost stood in my seat when I saw him in the theater, so that's easily number 1 for me.
Nice. I put the hairdresser scene from Ragnarok number 1. Funny scene.
My number 1 is
Larry King.
Thor. When he's in the truck and he's trying to pull out the hammer and just the back part of the truck breaks off and he's like, did it work? I really like his sincerity and that just he's trying, just this old guy. So that's my number 1.
Okay, so now we're on to villains.
Yeah.
So we think we have the same number.
I have 20 villains. I have 21 villains.
I got 1,
I have
2,
21
3,
villains.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I have 21 as well. And then
you're
you're
13.
You have 13. Oh, right, because
13 because you added a couple at the end. Start from the bottom again, should we?
Malekith.
Yeah,
all day long. He's a piece of shit character.
Forgettable and boring.
Like there's people on here like I have Dormammu higher. Like there's people even with a few scenes like are better than him. Awful character all the way around. I hate that character.
It's almost like outstanding how bad it is.
Yeah, it's
like it's a really, 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 really poorly done villain.
Yeah. And then I guess 20 for me is Shocker. Just because I was so disappointed in him, no costume, the character. We had different Shockers throughout the movie too, and it was lame. They could have done so much more. They should have cheesed it up, and so it's 20 for me.
This is where I put the big Whiplash.
The big Whiplash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's super lame, and I'm so sorry that's your favorite MCU movie.
Yeah. 19 for me, Yellow Jacket. Like I said in the review, he's just all over the fucking place in that movie, and he makes no sense at times. And I think it's a poor writing thing.
Pretty poor writing.
Yeah, I think the actor tried his best, but that character is garbage. Like when you really think about it, not garbage, but so much potential there, gone.
Yeah. This is where I tossed number 18 as number
19.
19. Yeah, I put the big Blonsky. Yeah, I really don't like Incredible Hulk. It was a pretty bad movie, and if you want to know the reasons why, go check out the episode.
18 for me, Whiplash. Not a great character. Starts really good, and then just goes completely downhill and gets super cheesy and gets killed off in a very lame way. So, yeah.
So I put at number 18, that's where I put Shocker, and the reason I put him here is just to show how much worse the other villains are. That like 3 of those are main villains of the movie, and they're all worse than Shocker. So
yeah. I think you're right. I think the disappointment of Shocker just brought him down for me so much. I was so disappointed.
I think he at least has a couple like cool sort of fight scene.
Yeah.
I don't know, slightly cool fight scenes.
I think I definitely have him the lowest here out of anybody. 17 Ultron. I like him less and less every time I watch him. I hate the baby Tony Stark stuff, and 17 Ultron.
Next for me is gonna be Red Skull.
Whoa.
Yeah, very, very. I just feel like there's so much more. Like I don't really read the comics, but I at least know who Red Skull is, and it really feels like they just kind of glazed over him, as opposed to actually building like a really awesome villain who maybe could have come back later, and I guess he still can. But I don't
Infinity
think we'll
War.
get that now. At least his face looked pretty cool.
That's cool.
That's all I have to say about him.
So we're on 16 now?
Yeah.
Alex Kensington, aka Aldous Killian. He's a fun villain war I like just for our meme.
Wait, I actually only have 20 villains, I just realized. Because you kicked Aisha off the list.
Then how do I have 21?
I think, do you have Aisha?
No, I
Oh.
don't.
Yes.
Maybe I have 2 on there, but who would be the character, because I feel like I screwed up, who would be Law?
Claw?
Claw, there we go. So, spoilers, he's on my list.
Law.
Yeah, Aldous Killian, he's fun for us, but like he's a completely weirdo villain. Another one that I think had a lot of potential, but I think with the Mandarin twist and then also that the woman, whatever her name was, was supposed to be the villain. I think he was just the remnants of like rewrites and it kind of shows, but he'll always give us, hey, is this guy bothering you?
Yeah.
So for if it was for funny, he'd be number 1 for sure.
My next vote is Justin Hammer. He's alright, he has a couple cool lines, but overall, he doesn't really feel like a villain. He kind of just feels like an annoyance who kind of pops up every here and there. So that's why he is where he is. Yeah. I put Aisha next after Justin Hammer. Since you're at 21, I will throw her in my list so that I also have 21.
You might miss somebody because I don't have Aisha and I still have 21. So we'll see.
I didn't put Loki. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. I got Ronan after Aldous Killian. Ronan is to me a very basic villain. He looks cool, he sounds cool, but really he's just kind of basic and.
But he ain't cool.
He ain't cool enough. So yeah.
I guess 13. So now Taylor can help him as well. Okay. Go for it.
My 13 is Justin Hammer. I'm not a fan of him. He's just such a poser.
I still 14.
Such a poser.
He's such a poser and a faker. He's
so
off the rails. Annoying.
We did so good for the movies.
Yeah.
We were on par.
Every time he comes on the screen, I think, this movie could be so close to being perfect, but this guy, he's just, and I get he's going for that.
But he's still above at least 7 other villains.
Well, he didn't rank those ones, so I still think he'd be last. I guess
you don't have the later villains, though.
I still can't believe that you have, like, something that you like or you dislike so much about that movie, but it's number 1 for you. Crazy.
It's pretty wild.
I got Dormammu, whatever number, I guess 13, even 13. Though I think something's wrong here. Dormammu, yeah, he's pretty low for me. His scenes are cool, but I also don't love the way he looks. I like the cheesy fire, just guy with a metal suit with a fireball head, and he's not into that much, but the stuff he is in it, okay, he's cool.
Alex Kensington, 13 for me. It's kind of forgettable. So, yeah.
My number 12 is Malekith.
Malekith.
Even higher than Hammer. That's
I thought the Dark Elves had some kind of cool, little bit kind of story going for them. Like their history fighting like the great grandfather of Thor or whatever he was. I thought that was pretty cool. But
that's not Malekith though.
It was Malekith.
It's tied to him, sort of.
But it was him and his people fighting that battle, and then they went into hiding.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll give it to you.
He's number 12.
He's number 12. My number 12 is going to be the big Ironmonger from Iron Man 1. He's alright. He's not all bad like some of the other villains on here, so that's why he's a bit higher. But overall, like his action scenes are kind of lackluster, and he as a character doesn't really feel like he has a whole lot of depth. He's kind of sort of basic.
Yeah, it is number 12, which I think I figured out what you two might be missing, but I'll get that because it's my next pick after. Justin Hammer, I enjoy him a lot more. This is getting into villains that I actually enjoy to like to love. Dormammu being the last one as far as they're alright to bad. I really like Justin Hammer. I want him to come back. He's just a fun villain. I like that he's so cheesy and quirky, and I love his relationship with Anthony. And I want more Justin Hammer back, and I think he has a role somewhere down the line. And he just won an Oscar, so let's bring him back. So
cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did too. Didn't he? My next guy up on the list here is Yellow Jacket.
That's high for you. I'm surprised. I feel like you dislike him.
I do dislike him. I think the reason he's as high as he is he at least provides some cool action scenes, some fun action scenes, and I cannot say that for anyone lower than him on this list. So that's
Whiplash does have that racetrack scene.
Okay, you're allowed to like that if you want. Like I'm not gonna fault you for that. So, but yeah, obviously character-wise, it's very lame, but at least he has a couple cool action scenes, I guess.
We're number 11 now.
11.
So Alex Kensington, he's number 11. As you said, like, you know, he's great for laughs and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, all
you have to figure. You gotta go listen to retrospective and figure out Taylor's name problems with names. So.
But he just he's
where does Kensington even?
It sounded like it in the name.
Anyway,
so I can relate, but you know, he's interesting character to a point. He just, I don't know, as a villain, he just seemed like, I don't want to say he was cocky, but just his attitude was like, yeah, you know, I'm here and I got money and I'm gonna do stuff and, you know, let's go surfing or something like that. I don't know. I feel like that's
line's not in the movie, but that's okay.
Go surfing.
Yeah, that's
Caught
how
that
I
one.
feel him. So.
This is one that I think you guys could have forgot. Alexander Pierce.
Yeah, I don't have him.
Yeah,
I think I realized that I didn't have him, and I was like, I have nothing to say about him, so I'm not.
He's completely the main villain in Winter Soldier along with Bucky, so I'm gonna say he's up there for me, and that's where I feel like we're really now at 11 if they would put him somewhere in their list. But Alexander
I still
Pierce,
have an 11, so.
But he's definitely a villain, and I like him quite a bit. He does good as just being like the figurehead for Hydra. Robert Redford delivers a strong performance, so yeah, I like him, and he's just this guy that, you know, is shady and almost convinces you that he's not, in my opinion. And then obviously he is, but
yeah. I put 11 as Dormammu. I already talked about him. I talked about Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Top 10, baby.
Top 10.
What do you got, Taylor?
Number 10 is Red Skull. Definitely top 10 worthy. I thought he was a very interesting villain. I thought he was very cool. I liked what they were doing with him. I really, you know, I hate that the actor Hugo Weaving probably will never come back to play as him. I would love it if they did. I think he was fantastic as Red Skull. Yeah, I think that was a very cool boost and feature for Captain America: First Avenger, the villain.
I'm gonna say 2 because I don't have 10. I have 11 still. So I had Stain as my actual 11 for my ranking.
Big Stainer.
I think he does a good job. Jeff Bridges is a good actor, but I like the ties that he has to Tony. And then number 10 is Zemo. I think that's a controversial choice because I think lots of people are not a big fan of Zemo, or there's enough people that aren't. But
really?
because I think people are like, oh, another weak Marvel villain, and I got that, but he had great motivations, and I really liked.
I thought he was used well.
I like how his story begins and ends. So Zemo's my number 10.
My number 10 is going to be the Big Ultron. Yeah, he's a fun villain for me. I think he it's kind of strange that he's like he is like a robot, but he still has like a very stylized voice. It's like a weird combo, but I think it's kind of interesting to see. And yeah, he's not perfect, but he's fun enough. He makes it to the top 10. Mm-hmm. Number 9.
Number 9. I'm put the Frost Giant dude in there. Frost Giant King.
I didn't put King Laufey in.
Completely forget who that is. I have no idea what that character looks like. Can't remember a single scene about him. Thor: Dark World is an awful movie.
Wasn't
No,
Dark
it's
World.
Thor. He's the one that, like, at the beginning.
I know, I'm
like,
just saying Thor: Dark World.
Fair enough. Yeah, we have
Completely
some
forgettable for me.
We should have put a pool in as far as I don't have.
We really should have, because Taylor kind of dropped the ball.
Because now I have 22. If I had to include him.
Oh.
I have like 27.
I'd probably put him just below or just above Shocker. That's about it.
For number 9 is gonna be row 9.
Nice. Did you do that on purpose, or did it just happen that way?
I don't know. I said it like a couple minutes ago. I was like, oh, nice, that's cool. I don't know. Yeah, I talked about him when I talked about Guardians as well.
Red Skull. I thought they did a good enough job of making him, and he's my number 9. Seemed imposing. I think my problems were that he seemed a little dumbed down, but I think because Hugo Weaving was behind the makeup, he brought the performance, and I really want to see him come back at some point. So it's my number 9.
My number 8, the Ant-Man's fierce villain, Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jack.
Fierce villain.
Yes.
Yuck.
Yes. He
Little
was
David Cross.
He was pretty cool. I liked him when he got into the suit. I thought he really became to be, you know, much more embracing his villain tendencies.
Embracive.
And, he was very the way they were able to do his fight scenes as a villain, I think as far as villain fight scenes go, it was very, very badass. And that's just essentially because obviously
Taylor loves badass.
I do like badass. You know?
Claw for me.
Me too.
Ulysses Claw that's my number 8. Sure. Yeah, I think so. He's
Because
such
then
a
we're paired up, so it works.
yeah. He's such a little slime ball in Black Panther. Yeah, he has a good scene in Ultron, but it's Black Panther that made me really sad that they killed him off. I would love to see him just bopping around, but he's just completely sleazy, and I love it. And it's Andy Serkis is phenomenal.
Kind of like a glorified goon.
Yeah, he's definitely the best of the goon, and just stuff like, hey, you want to hear my mixtape? And he's just like, I made it rain, but like they really just leaned into it, and I think that shows how good Andy Serkis is, because that character could have been so annoying and such a pain, but it made me miss him when they got rid of him. So
Yep.
so this is 7.
Yeah.
So my 7 was Jeff Bridges, Iron Man 1.
What's his name?
Jeff Bridges.
No, what's a character's name?
Kensington.
Was it Ironmonger?
And what's his real name? John.
Don't tell me I know.
Rhymes with pain.
Obadiah Stane.
Nice.
Good job.
There we go. So yeah,
Pain
I think he was very
Stain.
very cool. You know, definitely. His ties to Tony Stark. You know, he just wants to run things. He wants to own things. He wants to sell things, and yeah, he's just a man trying to make his
Real
way.
go-getter.
Yeah.
I'd say. My number 7 is going to be the Big Bucky. Because, you know, obviously, like you mentioned earlier, he is kind of zombified. He doesn't really have much personality in the movie until, like, kind of some glimmers at the end. Obviously, this is just his appearance in Winter Soldier, because he's kind of a good guy after that. But he's still, he looks, like, really badass. I love the arm, you know, such a cool arm.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love the mask that he had in the Winter Soldier, and, like, the music that would play every time he enters. Like, he is, like, just incredibly menacing just based off his appearance alone, even though he's just a dude. I mean, I guess he has a pretty unconventional arm, but still, you know, compared to like, you know, like a Red Skull or Whiplash or something, these dudes who are a little over the top, but he's kind of just a basic dude with a gun, but he's still like super sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, number 7 for me, Hela. I think she's cool. I think she's a badass. I want to see more of her.
Hela.
Yeah, I want to see more of her down the
How did
line.
I forget Hela?
I think that the scenes she was in Asgard weren't the most entertaining, other than her just saying goddess and she's chewing the scenery, and that's great. But I wanted a bit more of her, especially considering she's Thor's sister. So I hope that she comes back. But I was a big fan of Hela, but still want a little bit more. So I think I want a bit more motivation there. I don't know what it was. It just felt like, I think it was maybe lack of screen time for me, because she does have good motivation. I shouldn't say that. Just I think it was a lack of screen time, and I wanted a bit more from her.
I forgot her, so I'll put her at 6.5.
Okay.
For the same reason.
6.
Number 6, Ronan. Very cool dude, and I think that it was his perspective on what he wanted to, like, he just wanted to see his people, you know, go back to their roots and everything. I thought that was very cool.
To their roots.
And I liked his design and how he looked as a character, and how he kind of teamed up with Thanos, but totally just 180 and is like, fuck you, I'm gonna take you down, and yeah.
Didn't catch that line in the movie, but
No, he did not say that. Let's confirm.
I guess I'll go next.
Sure.
Number 6, I'm gonna put as Killmonger. I think he could be higher based on, you know, what I've heard of the character, but I would have to kind of see the movie again in order for him to break into that. But even as himself, he has a really great look. Like, those weird bumps are very strange, but interesting at the same time. Brandings, yeah, and he's very distinct from the other villains in terms of style, the way he talks, his presentation, and he has, you know, a story that is tied in with the main character, tied in with that world, in a satisfying way. And I could see him going up on this list as well when I see the movie again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, number 6 for me, Winter Soldier, just scary as fuck. They just do such a good job with that character. Dylan already pointed out, like, the look, the music, the feel. Anytime he was on screen, Winter Soldier, you feel an urge to be worried for the characters, you know, even though they're main characters. And I wish, obviously it's gone, but I wish we almost got one more movie of him like that. But maybe that's why it's so bad, because we only got that one movie and limited screen time where he's just the Terminator, you know. So, top 5.
Top 5. Go ahead, Taylor.
Russian Iron Man, Whiplash. He's my number 5. I think he's very cool. I love how he just goes into the racetrack and he's just rocking, you know, his vest and his suit burns off as he just exposes his, like,
exposes himself to the
He's just butt ass naked.
He is a pretty
on the
creepy dude.
racetrack,
So.
yeah.
But yeah, I loved the whole thing, like, where's my bird kind of attitude and stuff. And
Where's my bird?
he just, you know, he just puts Justin Hammer to shit, which I enjoyed, and he's working behind the scenes of the whole plan, and at times he'd be very scary when they walk into his room and the dude's hanging from the ceiling. Like, he's got a plan and he's just going for it, and he's badass.
Number 4 for me, number 5 is gonna be the Big Baron Zemo. Yes, he's kind of a different villain and doesn't really fight at all, but I think the way, if you like look at it as like a whole movie, the way they use that as a villain to kind of pit the characters against each other, these characters that we've seen kind of becoming friends over the past few years in movies. So yeah, I thought he was really fun, and he still had like a very menacing vibe just through like the presentation, the acting, and all that. And so I'll give big props to that as well, considering he doesn't fight at all in this movie and he still is a scary force.
Number 5 for me, Abomination / Blonsky. Might be. It's more about Blonsky. Abomination is great for the end fight, but go back to the Incredible Hulk. We get into a big debate about that, and I think I lay off a good enough reasons why I really enjoy him.
You did throw some good reasons.
I think why he's top 5 worthy, but great character, just raw emotion.
Raw
character. So yeah,
raw Blonsky.
4.
4. Number 4, where's my number 4? Bucky Barnes. You know, I think he was super badass, looked super dangerous. And, you know, I love the moment when we talked about it in the Winter Soldier retrospective, like, you know, just when he's introduced and they play that high pitched kind of like mellow tone.
It's my birthday! Put that music on all the Winter Soldier scenes.
I wonder how that would affect the movie.
10 times better.
It was just really scary and intense, and just when he just, you know, Nick Fury is just dominating his whole scene, and the Winter Soldier just shoots a frisbee out underneath his car and it takes him down. Like, it's just brutal. And
just brutal.
I loved how it was just little by little he was losing bits of his armor, his goggles, then his mask, and then he never ever like replenishes or puts them back on.
Such a shame.
Yeah, even in like, just a sidetrack, in the other movies where we see like flashbacks of him, it's still a shame to not see the mask and everything on there.
It was kind of annoying.
Yeah, but yeah, number 4, Bucky.
Number 4 for me, Eagle, the Living Planet. I love the connection he has with Star-Lord, and I love, for me in the movie, it was going of, like, eventually you figure out, okay, he's probably going to be bad, but for a while they played with, like, what is his deal here, you know? And I like that he was a villain in the movie, but not right away he was villainous. It was like, okay, he could be a fraud, or he could just be clueless, or maybe he is devious, and I love the way he plays with Peter, and, like, the stuff he does. Well, really, like, really, even playing football and everything like that, but I love his... It is a classic villain wanting to destroy the world and restart it, but I think they made him almost human enough that I bought into it. So
very human.
Yeah.
My number 4 is going to be Caecilius, played by the great Mads Mikkelsen.
Aren't we on? Oh, I forgot Caecilius.
Oh, this is so.
How'd you forget Caecilius? You forgot Mad Mikkelsen.
I'll put Caecilius below Winter Soldier for me, just so people know.
At number-ish. What number is that ish? 12.
Who knows? Who knows?
I
fucked the pooch on this
obviously
one.
This character doesn't get nearly enough screen time as I would have liked. I would have been fine if he was in every single scene in the entire movie. But he has an amazing look. Once again, he's combining with like the visual effects in that movie really well, and the way he does like all the hand tricks and opening doorways, as Taylor would put it. I love the eyes. The eyes are so distinct, and it's Mads Mikkelsen. He is fantastic, and he delivers an amazing performance. And he kind of died big time in the movie, but I hope that I feel like he could have died more though. So he could still come back, and I really hope he does, because I would love to see that character some more.
Number 3.
My number 3, I'm gonna have to say Ultron. I really, really did enjoy him as a villain. I loved how at times he doesn't understand everything, and it's like we talked about in the Age of Ultron retrospective. Mm-hmm. It's just he has all this knowledge that he installed and learned within seconds. Right. But the downside is he hasn't gone through the experiences of having that knowledge as a human would. Where if you
Got
fall and
elements.
break your arm, like, yes, you could learn about breaking your arm, but it's a different experience when you actually go through it. And he doesn't have that mental quality there with
It's just
him.
not really personally using the arm specifically.
And never actually broken a bone, fun fact. But I think Ultron, definitely his perspective and what he was trying to do, you know, it wasn't simply like blowing up a bomb or, you know, trying to like outright just gun everyone down or create an army to kill everyone. It was just create a meteorite, which I differentiate kind of differently. But it is kind of like a bomb, but, you know, a clean slate, as he said.
Bomb-ish.
I find it very interesting.
Tabula rasa.
Number 3 for me, the great Michael Keaton as Vulture. He
Me
just
too.
brings it the whole time. The car scene, obviously, you can just say then you know what we're talking about. He's great as Vulture, but it's more about like as like Adrian Toomes when he's like the dad and he has those scenes with Peter, and then just the like, hey, like I could kill you, but you just go show my daughter a good time. And he's so scary. He's very he's more scary than Winter Soldier somehow, and he doesn't get all that cool music.
It's awesome to see his different interactions between like his goons, like his guys that work for him, and then, you know, when you see him with his family, and then when you see him with Spider-Man, he kind of changes in a realistic, believable way, and yeah, very menacing, very menacing.
Yep.
And he's got a cool look. I would have preferred if they went like hyper cheesy and gave him the teal like
Metal
bright green sort of
and
suit,
everything,
but for what they did, he still looked pretty cool. So. Number 2.
I'm gonna say Abomination.
I'm gonna say it.
He was such a cool character. I really, really loved him. You know, when they dropped him into the movie and he was just going at it and he was like, you didn't tell me what was going on, like, what is this that we fought and whatever, and then they just dump all the classified information on his plate, and then he wants to be in on it, he wants to join up, and I love it as soon as he gets it and he's actually taking on the Hulk, seeing a human do these flips and stuff. It's like, wow, someone's actually taking on the Hulk, and General Ross is like, he's doing it, and it's like super crazy, and then all of a sudden he walks up to Hulk like a freaking idiot, and Hulk just Spartan kicks him, and he goes flying, smacks against the tree, ragdoll, thrown the doll, and it's just like legit, and he just comes back, and then he gets tweaked out on Hulk juice and turns into
Hulk juice.
Stan Lee got tweaked out.
he turns into Abomination. He's
So did
just
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet
Black
Witch.
Widow.
Black Widow.
Oh.
I kind of butchered that joke.
But just when he like grabs the rocket and like bites it, like he's just so terrifying. Like, you know, I would not want to be walking down the street and see him right there. Like, he is
I wouldn't
scary,
either.
and he's not even
Bad
dead,
performance.
which is so crazy. Like, if they were to bring back a villain, you know, it'd be hard for me to choose which one, but I would probably pick Abomination to come back. I think he'd be
He is your
super
number
cool.
2. So.
He's my number 2. I would love to see him standing next to Thanos, ready to swipe the Infinity Gauntlet.
Next
Yeah.
you would love to see that.
Oh, boy.
Number 1. Number 2.
I didn't say my number 2
Me
yet.
either.
Yeah, Killmonger for me. Surprisingly, this was hard because I almost
Really? You
Yeah.
forgot another big one then. You forgot another huge villain.
Why? No, I said this is my number 2.
Yeah. And
Surprisingly,
you only have 2 more. You only have one other villain, but
Yeah.
you forgot one really big villain.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you did. Anyway, go on.
Okay. We're not counting Thanos, are we?
No.
Okay. Yeah. And if you're talking about Loki, I got him, so it's all good.
Then I know you got Loki, so you forgot.
Oh wow,
Okay.
I'm interested. But yeah, with Killmonger, such a great emotional villain. He, unlike all these, even Loki at times feels like a comic villain. He does not feel like a comic villain. Like, he feels like a real person, and that's what's scary about it. I love the way they inject race and the race issue with him, and how he just brings it up just in the forefront, but it never feels like out of place. And yeah, he's just intense, and he's scary, and he's one of the best villains since Loki, since Magneto, since Heath Ledger's Joker. He just brings it, and he was almost my number 1 just because his scenes are so emotional. The way that character's story ends from, it's such a, I would have loved to see him go on more, but it's such a strong start and end for him. And yeah, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is the one that you forgot, who is the big ego.
No, he covered Ego.
When did you have ego?
I just talked about Eagle. He was my number 4.
Did you? Oh, I zoned out or something.
This guy over here. Oh, forgot
We thought
to
he
think.
had you.
Yeah,
You forgot Caecilius. So
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't surprised you forgot another one. I'm forgetting. This has been a longer cast than I was expecting.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, I'm getting tired. And stuff.
Yeah.
But we go through it. Ego is my number 2. I didn't hear what Travis said, so I'm going to reiterate. Maybe I'll copy what you said. But Yeah, really good tie to the character and the plot and what's going on. He's kind of unexpected. I remember being shocked at.
Very similar stuff. But keep going.
I don't know what happened. I'm missing a minute of my life. Missing a lot of minutes, but yeah, I think it was a very unexpected twist. That he was a regular dude, but then he actually ended up being like a planet. That you don't really see that every day. So.
Nope. You don't.
Yeah, and just the acting as well, like from the intro scene, when he kind of just seems like a regular dude, but you still don't know about his past, and then fast forward to, I guess when he's kind of explaining his whole world or his existence to Peter, and he kind of has like all those dioramas or whatever set up and kind of displaying what's going on, and it just perfectly lines up with Peter Quill and his connection with his mother and. The dynamic there, what really happened between them, and that because that's the first scene in the movie, I guess too. Hey, is him and the mom and the dad just driving around on the highway. So yeah, good villain. I can't believe you forgot about it, Travis.
Yeah, apparently number one, we all the same one.
Number one. So my number one would actually be different if I was doing all the Marvel movies. I'm just gonna shout out.
I would hope that a lot of your list would be different.
Oh, it would be very different.
Who would be your number one if you're...
My number one would be Vulture. I really love Vulture in Spider-Man.
Voltron?
He's fantastic. He's super scary, and I love his motives.
Too bad you didn't include him.
I know.
Number one.
But
I'm surprised he's over all our number ones, which is Loki, clearly. Vulture over
Did you have Loki as number one?
He is my number one.
How is Vulture over Loki? That's crazy.
I love how he looks.
Crazy.
I love how he plays. I love that he's
He does when he exposes himself.
I think, there's just a bright future coming ahead for him in the Marvel universe.
I don't know about that. He's in prison.
Dylan's down.
Dylan.
Bright future coming. What does that even mean? You pulled that out of your ass right there. Oh man, talk about Loki.
He's great. He is the closest thing we have to a hero/villain. It's his story, right? His story of being adopted, but secretly the child of the enemy, lied to his whole life, just wanting the love of his mother, his father, wanting the throne, and wondering his whole life, like, why can't I be up there? When he is really the better pick. When you look at him, he's more stable, he's more well-minded. As far as when we start with Thor, he has a better idea that he could probably... Not a better idea. They give you the idea that he would be a better ruler than Thor, and Thor is this cocky, kind of arrogant asshole, and of course he's going to be like, why? I've done all this stuff, why can't that be me? And obviously you kind of learn that Odin didn't trust him because he is like a son of a frost giant, and then that just spirals into Avengers where we see him just wanting to rule and kind of get a little payback at Odin for screwing him over, and then you see him start to regret it. Thor, Dark World, you get to see him kind of being his ultimate scheming, take over the throne. Loki in Thor Ragnarok I really like, but I wish they got a bit more because he does the turn, and I like seeing good guy Loki. I just wish there was a bit more in that movie, but his scenes with Thor are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And in Infinity War, when he dies, it's going to be a sad moment because I'm telling you, Thor is going to watch Loki die, and it's going to happen like first 20 minutes. Like, it's happening.
Well, he's seen him die multiple times.
This is going to be the real time, and he ain't coming back. So, great character. Yeah. Not even just villain, just great character overall.
Yeah. A couple of things I'll add. He just has a great look, and I think he can really display like the really charismatic times, but then also, he could be kind of just straight up intimidating, be like an awful person. Mm-hmm. So he just has a lot of layers to it, and you see it a lot throughout the movies, and like Matt Damon just really carries the performance into another realm as well. That's villains.
Mm-hmm. Top 10 characters, probably do a quick through because we've talked about a lot of them already. So I'm just gonna throw out some. I'll throw out some honorable mentions because I don't think for me I'll go first as far as Happy Hogan, big fan of Happy Hogan.
I has that.
She maybe will make it if I see more of her, but Shuri from Black Panther, just phenomenal. I want to see more of that character. Hawkeye, love Hawkeye. Didn't quite get into the top 10. I think that's because lack of screen time. Mm-hmm. And I think that's about it for my honorable mentions.
I'm gonna shout out Goldblum's character because
the Grandmaster.
Yeah, he's just a lot of fun. Gamora, I think she will make it into the top 10 in a couple movies after Infinity War, after Guardians 3.
Yeah.
I just want to see more of that character because I'm really interested in her story and stuff like that. Shout out to Yondu as well.
Yondu didn't make your top 10 because he didn't make mine either. Yeah,
No,
you're right.
I want to shout out Hawkeye as well. And then, if Rocket and Groot were combined as one character, they probably would make the top 10.
Yeah.
But each one of them on their own is awesome, just not quite enough not enough. I mean, Groot, his depth is completely reliant on Rocket, kind of sharing and stuff. So, I don't know. Those are my honorable mentions.
No. Okay, I'll start. Top 10. Number 10, Star-Lord. Very comedic, very good. I like his journey. I think he's not higher because of Guardians 2, even though I feel like they use him well. You get to learn a bit more of him, but Guardians 1 is really a showcase. He's our guide. They do a smart thing with starting him off as a child, and you see his mother pass away from cancer, and you just see this character grow throughout that film. So Star-Lord, number 10 for me.
Oh man, my list has already, I have a few in here that are confusion picks, no doubt. Ego. I think I will put, I'm going to put Captain America as number 10.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, he is a great character. He's had quite a journey, and he has some awesome action scenes and such. He's never a character that I've really felt connected to, and that's why he's not one of my favorites. But still, he has had such an amount of depth given to him that he is, without a question, making it into the top 10. Actually, there was kind of a question there, but he did make it in the top 10.
I am in shock.
Number 10, Ant-Man. I like how he's a criminal who wanted to redeem himself and
expose
himself and had to break in and steal some stuff, and he's back at it.
Number 9, Hulk. What more can you say? He's just great. I obviously like Edward Norton's Hulk a lot more, but just the Hulk alone, just great fun action, great moments in Ragnarok. So lovable big guy. Big guy.
I'm gonna put. Oh man, this is where it gets tricky. Someone's getting the boot.
We've had weeks to think about this.
I know, but this one's very difficult, right? I think I'm gonna throw some love over to Black Widow. I'm gonna put her as number 9.
Okay.
We obviously haven't gotten a huge development in one movie because she's kind of been spread out through. I guess she's been in 6 or 7 movies now. Probably about that. It's probably
5.
5, only 5. Yeah, so she hasn't really had her own movie, and so, she can't really break into the top 5 or anything for that, but still, she is a great character. I think one thing to mention about her is her chemistry with everyone is, spot on, it feels like, through all the movies, and I applaud that for sure. She also has some amazing action scenes, because her action scenes are a little more...
Keep going with 6 movies.
6 movies, you counted them in your head?
Because what? The Avengers, 2 Caps, Iron Man 2, and what else?
Avengers 2.
Civil War.
Yeah.
And Iron Man 2, you said?
I said the 2 Avengers.
Avengers 1, 2, Iron Man 2, Captain America 2, Civil War, and Iron Man 2. Let's say that again.
The 2 Avengers movies. Listen to my way I do it. The 2 Captain America's movies and Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2?
Well, what else is there? I'm not counting Thor Ragnarok, her being on the fucking computer screen.
I am.
It's 5.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Yep. What's her name?
Drax. I love his humor. I think it's fantastic. He's just this, like you said, a big lovable guy. He's just not big. He's a lovable guy.
Wow.
Well, I just discount Batista's work on the regimen. Number 8 for me, Thor. Definitely the later years, he gets better as he goes on. I think he could even, if they do a Thor 4, and there's talks about him being one of the main screen times of Infinity War, he could go higher than this. But Thor, number 8. I love cocky, arrogant Thor, and then I love the selfless hero Thor. So, and he's very comedic, and Chris Hemsworth does a good job.
So I've done a little bit of readjusting here, but I'm gonna put number 8. I'm gonna put Hulk. He would be higher. I don't know why I started with that, but I don't like the Incredible Hulk movie, but since it is a different actor, I think I kind of had a disconnect. So when I put him on this list, I kind of totally forgot about that movie. But he's a classic character. He's the Hulk, and I think he's had a really fun journey. I love the banter between Bruce Banner and Tony Stark. They're button heads and scientist stuff, and then I love the connection he has with Black Widow. Well, it's not one that's been fully developed in one movie. It's kind of slowly been developing over time. And then I loved his inclusion in Thor Ragnarok. I thought it was a lot of fun seeing them fight each other It was fun to see him as Hulk for a long period of time, and then it was fun to see him back as Bruce Banner and just completely in shock, dismay at what's happening. I don't know if dismay is a word, but I would say that's how I would describe. I'm getting tired. Yeah. That was my like kind of lower tier, and we're jumping up in the next tier.
Number 8, Black Widow. I think she's great. You know, she's in 5 movies. Fantastic.
She's in 5. Number 7 for me, you got the bump over a few people, is T'Challa, Black Panther. I love his introduction to Civil War. I love, even though in Black Panther he does quip a bit more, I love in that movie that everyone else is quipping and joking. Just that line when he's like, "Hi, I'm Clint," and then he's just like, "I don't care." Like, just laid the stage for the character perfectly. And I think he doesn't get enough credit in Black Panther because everyone talks about Killmonger, but I think Chadwick Boseman did a good job bringing him to life. So,
we're on 7 now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put Thor here. Even though he had a pretty rocky start with the first couple movies, I think one thing that really brings him up is his inclusion in the Avengers movies. Yes, he's not in Avengers 2 a whole lot, but I still think every time he's in it is a lot of fun, seeing him interact with everyone else. But yeah, Ragnarok is just such a fun journey, and I think he really is coming to his own in terms of combining like the charisma and the cockiness and the humor, and he's just such a fun character to see now, and I'm really excited to see his kind of culmination of bringing the Guardians in with the other guys, and he's just I've really grown to love that character now, even though he had a pretty rocky start.
Number 7 for me, Hulk. You know, I don't want to really separate it and differentiate the two, like Edward Norton and Mark Ruffalo. I'll just keep them together as 2 peas in 1 pod. I think that their performances are fantastic, and I think that the way his character has progressed from being a serious, stressed out, depressed, even suicidal kind of character to, you know, what's going on, like in Ragnarok, like I think it's really funny, and I mean, it's sad. I shouldn't say funny. It's sad, and then it gets to be funny. So I'm very excited to see what they do with him in Infinity War. You know, when he's wearing that Hulkbuster armor, that's gonna be sick. So yeah.
Number 6 for me, Drax. Almost probably just the humor. Yeah, it's just I love the character moments that he has in Guardians 2 when he talks about his family, and in Guardians 1 when he takes on Ronan. But anything he says in Guardians 1, I still laugh. Same with Guardians 2, but definitely the humor in Guardians 1, I feel a bit better with him there, and just whether it's the reflexes over my head, we went over those in the retro perspectives. Love that character. So
he's a lot of fun. Number 6, are we on?
Yep.
This is where my list kind of got moved around, so I guess it will be Ant-Man at number 6. Yeah, big Paul Rudd fan. I think he's a lot of fun. He's charismatic, and you know, I love his inclusion in Civil War and how people maybe kind of look down on him because his powers, he goes tiny. It's like, you know, that's not very glamorous, but then he pops off with the giant man. Yeah. And I like the dynamic that he has, you know, with his daughter, because it's something that we don't really see from like the rest of the MCU. It's at least how it's kind of just like a kind of real world sort of basic example, and it's fun to see, and I'm really excited for Ant-Man 2 sliding around the corner. Top 5.
I'm still on 6.
Still on 6.
Not bad. Are you done your 6 already?
Yep.
Oh,
waiting for you.
Number 6, Captain America.
Cap.
Great character. He's got serious story. Not enough to put into my top 5.
Stupid. These guys are stupid. Top 5 for me. Starting off hot. Spider-Man. I have problems with the Homecoming movie, but Tom Holland does a great Spider-Man, and they wrote a great Spider-Man. And then, like I said, I think there's some stuff missing as far as motion, but as far as just the character, in Civil War he's great. In Homecoming he's great. I think he's gonna be great in both the Avengers movies. He just feels like Spider-Man. So that's top 5 for me.
Yeah, I talk about Spider-Man so much that I think naturally this character is going to make his way high on my list anytime. But yeah, I love the casting, the differences that they've done in the MCU with him. I kind of already talked about him earlier.
Yeah.
So.
That's like honestly my next 4 are people I'm going to just list off because I've talked about them.
Yeah, me as well. Go ahead, Taylor.
Number 5, Star-Lord. I love his introduction so much. He's seeing his backstory with his mother, and then jumping ahead to when he's just dancing to the music. It's so well done, and it's so like, it's It's low key, but done in such a great hyped way. I love it, and that being said, when he took the back burner a little bit in Guardians 2, I had no problem with that. I thought, shine the light onto the other Guardians a little bit.
Yeah.
Share the
and
love.
it was even done in such a brilliant way, even though it was hugely based on him with his father being incorporated for this time around. I love how they've timed his story and his personality with the other characters. It's great. I love them.
4 now?
Yep.
4.
Just talked about recently, Killmonger. So, yeah, only one movie, but he's that powerful. So, number 4.
I'm dropping Loki, number 4.
Boom.
Number 4 for me is War Machine. I really, really like him. What?
That's pretty shocking to me, actually.
Yeah. I think we've talked about this whole ranking, and I've not heard you
He's
once.
come up once.
Well, we haven't talked
That's
about the both those heroes.
I guess just even in Iron Man 2, you didn't list as something you loved.
Yeah, I did. In Iron Man 2, I listed that we got to see War Machine finally. I
You did
love
say
seeing
that.
him. I did say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Again, go back to that. I love War Machine, Iron Man 2. He's fantastic. Especially, they did change character over, but that's fine. In Iron Man 1, actors, yes, thank you. In Iron Man 1, he's like, next time, baby. I love that. It's just another foreshadow. Like, we're going to get to see some crazy shit. And that's exactly what we got when he's got the little turret on his side shooting the hammer.
Don't forget the
rounds.
ex-wife.
Oh, the ex-wife, yes. Oh my god. Hammer drone technology.
Hammer drone.
But even in like the Age of Ultron's bar scene when he's talking about his story and he just gets
Boom, there it is.
yeah, it just gets put down by the other Avengers when he goes to like regular people and talks and he just like approves himself with his story. Like he's so funny and I really feel for him in Civil War when he
almost dies.
almost dies.
But then at the end he's like rehabilitating. He's getting back up on the
yeah. I'm really excited to see him in Infinity War. I'm really rooting
He's
for
not
him.
in it, actually.
Yeah, he got
He's in the poster.
cut. He's in the poster, but
Yeah,
Hawkeye
cut it.
isn't.
Hawkeye isn't,
that,
no.
Yeah, Hawkeye. Seriously, poor guy.
Number 3 for me,
Top
Iron
3.
Man. Yep, I've said enough film. The actual character, I think it's just because the next two I just like a bit more.
Yeah.
So
Number 3 for me is Doctor Strange. Love me
yeah.
some Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Well, for me, my number 3, I'm gonna say Groot.
Groody.
I really, really
You're a
like
big
Groot.
Grooter.
I got a little fungal bobblehead Groot at my fish tank. He's
Yeah, I feel like how much you like something is very much reflective if you own merchandise
Yes,
that
very much
represents
so.
them.
it's quite so that way.
It makes sense if you like the character you're gonna buy. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
No, yeah, definitely Groot. I have the steel case for Guardians, like I said. Yeah, riding off the merchandise thing again.
Normal Groot or Babe Groot?
The bobblehead I have, he's definitely.
No, like what do you prefer off the top of your head?
I prefer adult Groot.
Okay, sure.
Over baby Groot and teenage Groot, definitely adult Groot.
Fair enough.
number 2
Number
for
2.
me, Loki. I already
Loki.
just gave him a bunch of praise earlier, and that's why he's my number 2.
Peter Quill for me, Star-Lord.
Wow,
Duke.
number 2. I'm surprised.
I'm gonna say number 2 is Rocket for me.
Rocket.
Yes.
Separated them.
That was kind of surprising to me,
I
actually.
really, really like Rocket. I love how
I thought you
much
would put
trash
Groot
he
above
talks.
Rocket.
No, he loves the little trashy, panda. Trash
Little,
panda.
little trashy panda.
Yeah.
That has such a different connotation than trash panda. I think.
Yeah.
It does. But yeah, I have a little cup topper of Rocket that goes on my movie theater cup. He's
Very
just
cool.
super cool.
Number 1.
Number 1, let's say together, Captain America. No, I've talked about him a lot. I think he's the heart and soul of the franchise. I think
Well.
people realize it a lot more. No, I get Iron Man. He is the main. He's the poster boy. But I think when he goes away, there's a big chance that these movies lose a lot. Whether it's Chris Evans or the Captain America, the character. Yeah, you could have Bucky or Falcon in there, but what they bring to the role, what he brings to the role, and what they bring to the character, there could be a chance they really lose a lot of steam going forward because he's just the guy, when you see that preview of Thanos just trying to get that glove on him, it's like, who else would be doing that? Of course you have Iron Man suit, but just the heart of who's going to just take Thanos on one-on-one with the gauntlet, it's going to be Captain America. So, yeah, I'm very, very looking forward to see what happens to him in Infinity War and his arc. I think it's just even getting better. If Civil War was a big moment, then Infinity War, he looks like he's had some tough times, so...
Yep, number 1 for me has got to be my boy Iron Man. He is very, very important. He's consistent. He's the only, character of the Thor, Cap, the guys who've gotten 3 movies that I love his performance, even from the very beginning. And he's stands strong all the way up until every movie. Spider-Man, even though he's in it very little, he's still a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great character.
Number 1 for me is gonna be Thor's friend. He's got the.
No, it's Iron Man. Nice try.
Yeah, Iron Man.
You can't fool me.
Thor's friend. the predator in the tree.
Yeah, no, it was Thor's friend.
Yeah, it's Iron Man. I love Tony Stark. I love Robert Downey Jr. playing as Iron Man. He's absolutely fantastic. You know, Team Iron Man, 100%.
Cool.
That's it. We ranked everything.
We did.
Do we need to throw our links? Because I did throw all those links out at the beginning, so I think we're golden.
I'm gonna just shout out again, you know, Run or Not, be sure you can get it at this time, you can get it early on Patreon if you're a Patreon subscriber. I don't know whether or not at this point in time it'll be available publicly. I guess, you know, just check out our YouTube, check out all of our sites.
That's why you
everything.
subscribe.
That's why you subscribe. It's great, superhero themed. Boom.
Well, until whenever the show comes back, we'll definitely let you know. But until then, have a marvelous day, and we'll catch you in the
post-credit scene. You keep saying.
Cut the check.
Cut the check.
We did it right once, so you know what? That's good.
Yeah, we already can't get any better than perfect. It's the final app of the retro.
Yeah.
For now.
It's a Luke Cage.
God.
The fuck? Oh man, I have a hole in my pocket.
Oh.
So yeah. And then
Very
so
sexy.
my charger just fell all the way through.
Oh.
For a second, I thought a ghost was feeling me up. I was like, "Whoa."
Nice. That's awesome.
Your house is haunted in a good way.
Ew.